On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, we ask the most important question of this or any other era. What is game night? Hi, I'm one of your hosts. I am a children's card game, Omega. With me, as always, probably not a werewolf, Lucky.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka a Dino is fine too. And why we here at Studio Mega like to bring you the latest in FGO-related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events for both the JP and EM version of the game, so anyone not wanting spoilers should take a journey through the stars.
Yep. Sorry, I was wrestling a cough there that I didn't want to cough. But okay, hi. First of all, let everybody know that this show is filmed in front of a live studio audience, kind of. If they clap, we can't hear them. No. But they're here. Yes. This is our big celebration episode of the 25 hundo subs. It's a big deal.
Yeah, chat, give me some claps in the fucking chat there. Give.
Yeah, get some claps down in chat. And while they clapping, I will remind everybody this episode is brought to you by our local money bags. Good old Uncle Pennybags. Which includes Ahigar Comics, Blacklist OG, Carlos, Qua, Jeremy Vasquez, Kylie Den, Nestor Flores, Rogue Robin, Shawnee P, Some Game Nick Bob, Soda Sun for Two Fair, Cyber 23, and Video Gamer 75. If you like what we do and want to see us do more, you can consider supporting us on Patreon. You get access to episodes early and lots of other goodies that really helps us out. Thank you for your support, everybody.
Thank you! Yeah.
Omega finally had to build basically a slide in the credits list to list all the shoutouts, because there's... Is that 10 per column? Oh no, that's like 7 per column. There's like 13 of them. I don't have that many fingers. And no, yes, Omega really does go that fast. Okay.
You go fast.
So now we're in the show, and actually to kind of talk more about what we're going to talk about, the Fate Requiem collab is actually happening. We have mailbag, of course. Kogetsukan finished. Technically, the event isn't over in case you didn't read all of them yet. I know some people were a little slow on the pickup. Though in that case, you should watch out for the spoiler alarm, because we're going to get into it when we get down there. We'll have new details on the servants. We also have prepared the Gudaguda 3 pregame, because that has to be like right around the corner. I'm guessing probably like next week once the hunting quests and Kogetsukan rolls out of frame. And also, thanks to our esteemed patrons, I have prepared for you what is the Nasuverse, a topic in 4.5 pages.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a very comprehensive list. It's not very deep, but it's comprehensive. Okay. So, while we're here, let's go ahead and check in with everybody's favorite kohai, Mesh.
Senpai, 起きてください.
That's right, everybody. It's time for Wake the Fuck Up, Senpai. Regular second for pro tips. I can swear because we're like 3 minutes in. Perfect. So this is pretty simple, and it's a semi-mea culpa. Basically, the pro tip this week is Omega lied. Hunting quests also drop lots of EXP in case you didn't realize that, which at least one person didn't. So go nuts, get that double suck. I think last week I was literally like, well, the event doesn't do anything with EXP, so hoard. But then it's like, actually, no, it kind of does.
Deception!
Though right now, we're being slightly shenanigans because it's a mixed node, and it's riders ending in a Hydra, which is not the greatest. If only because AoE assassins are tough to come by.
Actually, don't you have a max level Zerx a lot?
I mean, yeah, but then there's the whole, okay, what do I do with him? You know, is it cycle in, cycle out? You can do different waves. And also, honestly, because Berserkers are 1.5 damage, sometimes it is better to actually use the appropriate class.
Yeah.
Now that it super matters, because I think after doing it a few times, I don't really need a lot of Archer and Rider EXPs right now. With that, we can actually move into Records on the Throne, our achievement topic, and I can mention that it took me a little bit to get all the EXPs, but Chiron Smile has been protected. Thank you, bonus EXPs from the downloads campaign.
And over here, Lucky has a bit more with Surfer Mordred and Waver are both 10-10-10. It's like, huzzah. Neza Smile is Protect. And throughout the last week, I was able to get me a Poster Girl along with a max limit break of my 3rd K-Scope and another Fragments of 2030 as well, along with another Fluffy Doggo, bringing him up to NP2. So yeah, I've been a little busy. Not as busy as I could have been. I can. But I probably would have been a little bit more robust, but now we're going to switch over to Not All the World's Evil, but Damn Close. If you all were in the stream yesterday, on my stream FGO, as voted by community, I don't know why you guys picked it, but okay. You can hear my limitations about that all throughout the stream, constantly, all the time, every time someone brought it up. But I'm just going to read what I wrote here. Bones and Feather has ended this man's career. Lucky literally has 0 of both. Like 0. I don't have like one or two or a few just, float around. 0. I have none. And it's killing me. Cause...
And you've missed Bone Day. It's past.
Yep, I've missed... Mm-hmm.
And there will be no Feather Day.
Nope.
And hold on, let me check my notes. Will there be feathers or bones in this setup? Hold on, I'm sensing no. Wait, no, there might be some bones in the shop. Bones in the shop, maybe? I think that's it.
Oof.
On the other hand, if you can't get enough of those Dragon Fangs or that Hydra Vodka, that's also in the next event, in addition to being now. Don't know why we're doubling down, game.
But, no, so yesterday I was doing hunting quests, and since I was picking up caster EXPs, I was like, you know what? Let's work on some casters. I have a bird. I have a fluff. Like, they need some lovin'. And, let's see here. I think it was Kirky. Did I even? No, yeah, I got Kirky past 1 ascension, but it wasn't. And Sheba didn't even get past her first ascension.
Yeah, because I was working on today's show notes yesterday and some other video prep. I was lurking while you streamed FGO. I think I looked away after Sheba, but you when you did Kirky, it was immediately you did a whole row of ascension, a whole row of EXPs, got to the next level, tap the ascension key, and then it's feathers. There
was much distress and screaming. I literally flopped back and rolled around on my bed. This is why you guys need to come to my streams. You get to see Lucky Tantrums. I heard there was many people. I'm pretty sure
that's why people do watch streams, as evidenced by the fact that I still have viewers in my Yu-Gi-Oh streams, which seems to only be to see what Omega will yell at this week.
You do yell a lot in your streams.
The game makes me yell. We could play something relaxing, but I'm pretty sure that's not why people are there, as evidenced by the fact that they literally voted for you to grind FGO.
Yeah.
Okay. After all that story, I believe it is now a good time to move into. Did you finish your master missions? Well, did you? They're pretty simple, though I don't actually know if doing the hunting quest will actually solve them, so keep an eye out. You need to defeat 8 servants, defeat 3 good servants, defeat 3 balanced servants, obtain 3 skill gem drops, clear 5 quests, and clear 10 quests.
Well, doing skill drops 5 and 10, you can definitely do that from hunting quests. Defeat 8 servants, good servants, and balanced servants. As I said, you're gonna have to go out a little bit out of your way.
So that may also be a hint, because it's good and balanced. That may be a hint that we are actually due for Gudaguda 3 soon, because I'm pretty sure those servant requirements are going to be very easy if we did that event.
Let's see. But yeah, it's not difficult.
Oh no, you just have to make sure to pop some AP out of your way to clear them out, maybe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's just go ahead and blaze on through, since we're already 8 minutes in to the show of forever, the Forever Show. And hit up our one bit of news this week. Because that's it. We covered most of the announcements last week, and then there's no new news. But the Fate Requiem board game apocalypse, yes, that's what it's called, did in fact start. And it goes on from the 25th to the 8th of June. You collect dice and play board games to get the Welfare Lancer. I believe it's Erice Utsumi, but I'm still not sure. You can get double EXP for Erice during this time. The banner is new SSR foreigner Voyager, who is quick.
And small, and boy.
New SR Berserker Kijyo Koyo. As it's in my notes later, the J is silent, the O's are long. Kijyo Koyo. And then there's some new CEs, which are actually all Requiem themed. Shocking, I know. The 3 new servants get plus 100% damage and plus 50% bond, which, by the way, has got a lot of people worried that there's this event has bonus damage. But also, I think it's just paranoia. Because there's the only thing in the Gudaguda 3, for instance, is bonus damage, and that's, other than making it easier to clear the maps with those servants, it's not really a big deal. This is a mission-based event. Get your whole mission ladder, do some stuff, collect some extras. All in all, it seems very interesting and fun. Got a board game theme. I'm pretty sure it literally at one point, the cast, who is mostly the French servants, played werewolves. And there's been some other references and stuff to some other games going on. That'll be super fun to see what's up in the thing. And there's some fun stuff in there.
What was the actual word that they used for board game? It was French, I believe, right?
Probably.
French. I think it was French or Latin, if I remember right.
Don't know for sure.
It was
a lot of fun. Some very interesting things going on. You may have seen there's a couple of special costume sprites for Mary and
Oh, yeah.
Mozart going around, which are very popular. And there is some discussion about some stuff, so will you give the spoiler warning? Omega will drop a minor spoiler on you, just like Lucky does all the time in What's Up to Me.
Mhm.
Because it's mostly about what a character isn't, rather than that a character exists. There are going to be some images floating around of quote-unquote Dark Mary, but also if you look at some of those screenshots, there's a giant ghost behind her. It's a giant ghost. It's not actually quote-unquote Dark Mary. It's a person with that appearance. But that doesn't necessarily stop them from using that character later. I figured we'd get ahead of this one and kind of, box out some discussion about being like, it's just a giant ghost, okay, guys? Calm down. But it's still a very good story sprite. Spooky scary. We'll see. There's still some people who are who are looking for like a part 2 banner or something. I don't think there will be, especially considering, like I said, it is literally in story a giant ghost pretending to be Evil Mary.
Well, I said it's not. We can't say that collabs have not had sudden part 2.
Oh no. Yeah,
banners.
the CCC for instance did, but at the same time, if they had finished assets, they probably would have used them, unless they're just fucking with us, which they could be.
Mm-hmm.
There are many giant ghost jokes.
That's it. Just wait and see.
Yeah, the time gap was very, very long for Erice to actually be playable. You didn't get a temp version of her.
No.
So
I think as of this recording, people are getting their first copies of her, if I remember.
Yes,
correctly.
I believe we actually have like her Ascension arts now, and we have some of her final stats. I think you must have fought her in the story because her skills were data mined before then, and people figured them all out. But yeah, we're actually working with her now.
I'm excited because I need translations of her profile.
I've read some extremely fast translations, so I don't know how 100% nuanced they are, but there's some interesting stuff. We'll talk about that later when we talk about all of them in Free Talk, but that will be much later. Because that's the news. We'll talk more about the servants when we actually get into that section. And now is the space that is literally spaced out. I wrote a note in the outline to make sure that the outline is spaced correctly for Let's Talk FGO mailbag.
Mailbag! Yay!
You should get like a prop mailbag so you could shake it around.
I can do that. I know people in the fucking U.S. mail service. It's like, yo, let me just get a bag. Give. So, anyway, this is the Let's Talk FGO mailbag segment. Yay! Everyone give me applause in the chat. Give.
Claps in chat.
Yeah! This makes me happy. Basically every Monday, or Monday-ish. Sometimes I post it at midnight on Tuesday because Lucky forgets. He's a bad boy. I'm sorry. But I put out a post on our community page on YouTube where people can send in lovely letters and comments and for them to be read live. I usually just say, keep the message, don't let it ramble, and put an alias that I will read online for the giggles. And people have been responding this week. We got quite a few. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to get through all of them. As I said, we got a long show going on, but we're going to get through as many as possible. Some of the ones, and you've said this before, like even in the comments and stuff. Some of the questions are not necessarily, right to just read out on the show. Like, some of them might be too longer conversations, so we'll just skip them. Yeah. All right. So, our first one, with the name Zictive, asks, "Hey there, Lucky Omega, it's me again. I was just wondering, which servant would you recommend a free-to-play player to roll for in the future? As a free-to-play myself, I have really limited resources at my disposal and resorted to saving very long periods for times just for 1 5-star to ensure I get them. Love you guys and love the content. Cheers!" Well, it was Zictive. First off, thank you very much for your letter. This is a question that a lot of people are going for. And I can tell you immediately off the top of my head, without really to think, the servant that you, in the most immediate time you're going to want to save, maybe roll for, is Scotty, coming up with this year's anniversary.
Literally everyone in chat is typing that right now.
Yeah, they are.
No, that's a big one.
It's a big one.
I mean, okay, that really depends. Do you have quick units? If so, yes, you want to do Scotty. Some other people are recommending Summer BB has a really, really interesting bullshit skill where she freezes time for 3 turns, aka freezes your card hand.
Yeah. Summer BB is another one that I would suggest because also, I don't know when you started playing this game, you might not have a moon cancer.
That's right, and we won't get a permanent moon cancer until sometime next year. Which though that might be another good one to save for. I know she is permanent, but Jinako, aka Ganesha, is another good pull, a permanent one.
But let's see here. So Scotty is definitely if you have like maybe like Lancelot, a Tomacat.
If at any point you've gotten Dantes, and if you don't have a Dantes, there will be a raid up for him this summer. I know that's obviously another kind of like risky one because it's right after. It'll be right after the anniversary, but he will get buffs over anniversary time, and with Scotty, he actually is a very, very high performing Avenger. Let's see, new servants who are really goo. So we've talked a lot about alter egos. Like honestly, if you're not all in for Okita Alter already, and you want to save a long time, King Protea, that'll be early next year, is another really, really good high level, AoE alter ego. Really, really good for those mixed nodes. That's a really strong one. I think that's worth saving for. We're not really up on the latest meta, but I'm just trying to think, who's really goo? Who is really goo? Well, late next year, after Christmas, with Lost Belt 5 Part 1, there will be Super Orion, who is a limited 5-star archer. He is really, really strong, though he is a little better suited to solos, but he will be a pretty big deal in terms of clobbering people. But archer is also a very loaded class. You might already have a good archer. The only other thing I think is another one late this year will be Qin Shi Huang, Emperor Mothman. He is a ruler who does a lot of interesting stuff to make him do a lot of damage and soak up a lot of damage. And if you don't have a ruler, that can be very important.
Yeah, but I think at the top of the list, your choice should probably be Scotty. Especially since at the time you get on, we should be getting an influx.
Yes, we should be getting a boatload of quartz that will incentivize you to give her a couple rolls. That's a really good one.
And I'm pretty sure a lot of people's supports might be reflecting the fact they might have a Scotty and whatnot. So...
And if you get lucky and get early, like we said, keep an eye out for summer this year. There will be a couple of raid-ups, so it'll be really interesting. And that's a pretty good one to open up. I mean, me personally, another Avenger you might want next year is Space Ishtar, just because she has a really interesting mechanic where she changes her card type, so she can be useful with different supporters. Other than that, this year we should go to $15 worth of St. Court's GSSRs. So if you can scrape together, it'll basically be, it'll be 15 St. Quartz. I don't know exactly if that translates to $15, but it should. It's about 99 cents per St. Quartz. So if you can scrape together that much, keep an eye out for that. That's a good way to just pick up some extras here and there. Just, pro FTP tips.
All right.
Oh, yeah, actually, that's another one. Somebody did mention Arjuna Alter. He's an AoE Berserker who's also really strong early next year with Lost Belt 4. I think if I'm recommending to FTP, my general recommendations are, okay, you're going to need some support, and you're going to need some big hitters to take care of farming. And Berserkers, Alter Egos, that kind of stuff is the way to go. And rulers are good for tanking bosses most of the time. Okay.
You done now?
Yeah.
Alright. So there you go. A lot bigger answer than I was expecting to give. But...
the chat got really energized in there.
But there you go. There's your answer. Thank you for your letter. Moving on. This one comes from Emblem, who says, I have one question to ask. What server made you want to play this gacha game for? Well, first off, thank you very much for your letter. Now, honestly, Lucky really didn't get, Lucky can answer first. I really didn't get in this game for any particular servant. Lucky literally got into this because Omega was all like, hey man, there's a Fate game coming out. I'm gonna play it. You should play it too. I was like, okay, I'll play it.
And here we are. My answer is basically the same, BT dubs. I didn't... it was really cool that I could roll for, Mordred and Ishtar and stuff, but I didn't really get into this for the gacha part. I got into it because I wanted to play a new Fate game.
Yeah, Lucky...
a lot of people
basically, Lucky, because Lucky doesn't, read ahead, necessarily. He didn't know, all the servants are in there or whatnot. So he was playing the game when he started discovering servants, and he was just like, oh! So...
Well, yeah, and like I said, we will get into the whole list of, what's officially considered into the Nasuverse and stuff, and man, there's a lot of stuff they have mined for content, and can mine.
Gemini.
I feel like I'm gonna get most people with at least one thing they didn't realize.
Alright, so Emblem, thank you very much for your letter. We're gonna move on. This one, we go on to our next one, from Siderant, help, Kiyohimi's bringing out the bells. Apparently his situation has worsened. But they say, happy to see this mailbag is doing well and people having fun with it. I was wondering how Galahad is portrayed in Requiem. Is he a big old sausage in FGO, or is he actually a cool dude who's good at his job? Let's gonna say he has a red Requiem, so he has no fucking idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna also say, I don't know. It's not out officially in English, and it's been a couple years, so I'm sure somebody translated it, but I don't always have time to run down scanlations of stuff anymore. We will... This is gonna come up a lot. Dear Aniplex, for the love of God, localize some shit. Maybe not right now, but also maybe right now because you guys have nothing better to do. Localize!
And just because, and I said, just because there's translated doesn't mean Lucky's gonna go out of his way. Alright? So...
Oh, Card, you don't understand. Most of the fighting games are localized. They're just also horrifically out of print. Okay.
But Sidearn? What? Oh, I'm getting... Don't worry. I got this. So, Sidearn, thank you very much for your letter. And now we move on to next one. This one is from Jeff, who asked, "Hey, Lucky Omega, I having fun both with FGO and watching/listening to most of your videos and streams. What, not all of them? How dare, sir. Question: what is your greatest/proudest feat in FGO? For me, it was making discovering 3-term insta-kill farming team. Currently, I have teams for Bullets, Permafrost, Megatama. MP5 Steno is great for this, and loved her even more now. Jeff." Well, let's see, Jeff. Let me see. What am I proud of?
I don't really have anything off the top of my head either. What am I really proud of? Like, generally, I feel good when I can beat a big story boss, or I can beat a challenge quest without seals. That's usually what makes me feel proud about FGO.
Honestly, no, like, for Lucky, honestly, the thing is I've been here day one for North America. That's something that I'm proud of in FGO. Like, I have been through basically every event, every mishap, like all the news, streams, all that stuff for North America. Because, as a North American person, I'm like, this is important. So, yeah, that's what I'm proudest of. It's just I've been here, and I'll probably still be here until, when they eventually close the servers one day.
When Nasu launches his meteor to destroy the West Coast and the American servers.
Our servers aren't in America, though.
I know. They'll have to move them because they've destroyed the Japanese servers already.
So,
yeah, no, I get mine.
So, Jeff, thank you very much for your letter. And we move on to the next one. This one comes from Tyranno, who asks, "Dear Lucky Omega, since Chaldea is home to all sorts of teachers and mentors, who would you like to learn from, and what skills would you like them to teach you? Also, who would you wouldn't like to learn from? Thanks for doing this, and hope your future roles are blessed." So let's see. There is a lot of teachers in this, but I mean, I guess the most teacher of teachers would totally be Chiron. I don't know. He seems to just have good life advice, and he could teach teach me to box. That'd be great.
Pancration.
As I said, the only really other person in that would probably be Shisho, Skahawk, but I might die.
Yeah, Chiron would be hard work, but he wouldn't actually kill you.
Let's see, what other teacher types do we have in Chaldea?
Yeah, we got a lot of mentors and stuff. Kiara's not a teacher, she's a doctor.
She's a counselor. Yeah. Kirky, might be interesting.
Actually, funnily enough, I blanked at his name for a second. Salieri was a music tutor.
Oh.
That is true, technically. Jaguarman Sensei exists. Well, okay, so yeah, they're saying technically Kiara did pretend to be the teacher in CCC, but that's not, she wasn't actually a real teacher. That's the thing. She was a fake teacher so she could fondle you and do sinister things.
Yeah, but let's see. I'm trying to think of people who have servants who have actually taught. Because there's a lot of servants that are real good at what they do, but just because they real good at what they do, I guess Merlin is technically a teacher, but I don't want to be taught by Merlin. Look how that ended up. Look how that ended up for Artoria. You have to remember,
fell for that trick all the time.
Merlin doesn't necessarily understand humans and human emotion, which kind of makes it him hard to fully empathize. Merlin
could teach you some fun tricks, but I don't know.
Yeah. Everyone's gone on about Dick Wizard now.
Yeah, correct.
All right. But as I said, so yeah, I would probably say Chiron and Kirky. As I said, Kirky, you might have to deal with some fucking shenanigans with.
Is anybody really truly shenanigans free?
No. As for people I would not want to learn from, let's see here. I don't know. I guess Merlin. As I said, he's a little shady, a little too shady. And as I said, Ortoria doesn't end well. She becomes a great king, but that's all she was. She's not a great person. Oh, duh, that's right. People are right. Fucking Waver. Waver would be a great fucking teacher. Hell yeah, learn from Waver.
But is he short Waver?
I'm pretty sure
he's still like 19, even if you put him in his last ascension. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Professor Waver could be fun. I mostly agree. I think I'd go with Chiron. And so forth. The whole, Skahak and the whole friendship of the thighs thing, that sounds like a good plan, but then you fucking dead, so what are you gonna do?
You'll have a whole new kinship with Q, though.
There's a lot of jokes I could make, but don't want to, and will not.
Oh, actually, no, I'd actually put Leonidas in that fucking role, too. Leonidas, I don't know if he was actually much of a teacher in history, but in FGO, he has technically really taken on a mentor role.
Yeah, he's definitely done that.
Yeah.
Shield senpai.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd hang out with the Chiron and learn about the archery and the pancration.
Mm-hmm. But as I said, we're going to spend too much long on this topic just thinking about everyone. So that's that. So thank you, Tyranno. I thank you very much for your mail. We're going to move on. Oh, this one. I read this one earlier, and this is fucking crazy. I found this one hilarious. So, this one is from, Shion, who says, Dear Lucky Omega, while it's not directly FGO related, I was curious if you've ever heard of a card game called Force of Will, and if you had, what were your opinions on it? There are some characters in that appear in the game that also appear in FGO. If not, then a second FGO related question, who is your favoritely written character? Keep up the excellent work. So, I didn't know what Force of Will was. I really didn't. So I looked it up. I was curious. I'm like,
oh no, you looked it up. That's
I looked it up.
Idea.
Have you looked it up?
No, I'm gonna Google it right now, though.
Well, okay, so here's the fucking crazy thing. So it's basically a Japanese version of Magic mixed in with a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh. That's the basic way I can put it. It looks kind of fun. But do you know what fucking slayed me about this?
What's up?
It's a card game that has a Ghost in the Shell standalone complex 2045 deck set.
Yeah, it sounds like they got a lot of licensing shenanigans in here.
Yeah, so do you want to play a card game where you can be the fucking major and throw around Tachikomas? It's like, here you go. I also checked out, they also have a Valkyria Chronicles set.
This might be relevant to another question we have later. Kind of.
Yeah, no, I'm dead serious. Like, hang on, let me see if I can pull up a picture.
TTS mod for this, I could figure it out.
I
do like to play card games.
Ghost in the Shell. Alright, hang on.
This is a very interesting genre art they've got.
Like, here's the box of it. Like, right here.
Booster box. Product. $60.
Yeah.
We could shenanigans some stuff with that.
Yeah, so...
Sorry, this is actually relevant to some ideas I've been having with, like, doing some, like, buying some things and opening them for videos, but those are actually kind of expensive. Like, as you can see from the audience at home, link this Force of Will, Ghost in the Shell booster box is about $60.
Mm-hmm.
Most Yu-Gi-Oh booster boxes are like $60, and now that I'm thinking about it, I gotta go look it up. I don't know if people know this is completely unrelated, but there is a FGO wafer card thing, if you've never seen them.
Mm-hmm.
But they're called candy toys, but they're basically packs of random cards of servants with like a yellow wafer in there, so you can snack on them.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got like different rarities, so that could be fun to like buy like a 20-pack or something. But those are also like $50 or $60, not counting shipping. So that would definitely be a thing I would be like, I would want to make sure there's an audience and maybe do some like pre-funding of that, like maybe as like a monthly like stream goal or something for stream tips, get up to $60 or whatever and do some videos. So I will continue to workshop that, and we can talk about that more on WhatsApp probably.
Mm-hmm. But as I said, it's literally anime magic, and I'm not gonna say I'm a little interested.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. There are a lot of those. I believe there are quite a few weird much like there are a lot of weird, almost generic gacha games you've never heard of, right?
Mhm.
That feature lots of the same public domain characters. Thank you, public domain. There are also, I believe, lots of weird anime-esque card games that exist out there that probably don't go anywhere, but I guess in Japan it's a bigger deal.
Oh, Ishtar, the great goddess of kindness, stranger. Excuse you. But this is a good design.
Yeah, there's a lot of... That's the beautiful thing about public domain and, like, getting anime artists to do stuff is just, go crazy, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, man, I love this. There's a card just literally called Opening the Red Eyes. And it looks like it's just a buff. I'm just like, this is so chuny. I fucking love it.
That Ishtar is not necessarily more closed than regular.
But as I said, like, so I looked into this game. I'm like, I'm interested in this game, but as I said, I don't know if I have the money to, like, you know, start investing in it.
The Red Eyes Swordmaster.
Yeah, Shakti. All right, so but yeah, so like I said, like, I'm glad you brought this to my attention.
Yeah, I'm kind of now, at least for the funnies, I'm kind of glad, and also because it's got to go to the shell theme thing. I'm kind of glad you actually looked it up, because I was just going to be like, no, I like children's card games, but there's too many of them for me to follow. But now we do know.
So, in regards to the second question, who is your favoritely written character? I don't think I cannot pull a favorite out of my.
Yeah, well, we will remind everybody, at least for me especially, going with hard and fast favorites is hard. Because it's first of all, FGO has a lot of characters, a lot of writing. It's hard to capture everybody all the time, and then characters change writing. It's not really the moment for it, but you did Scheherazade's new interlude on stream. I didn't watch because I didn't want to spoil it for me, maybe. But it's a very long. What did you think about that? Because that turned a lot of people's corners on how they feel about Scheherazade.
Well, like, here's the thing. Like, Lucky always liked Scheherazade. Like, even like mid Agartha. It's like, I find her quirky, and I find her quirky and entertaining, and I just don't want her to fucking hurt herself. So I'm like, so basically most of the time I was like, Shez, no, stop! And Shez is like, I'm not gonna stop. I'm like, no! Excuse me. So, like, personally, like, it really didn't change my opinion on her, because my opinion was already fairly positive of Scheherazade. Like, Lucky doesn't usually, like, when Lucky looks at characters, I don't usually think too deep and hard on their whatnots. Because remember, like, whether in FGO or in actual history, a lot of these characters actually did some pretty fucked up shit. And so, like, I'm just like, well, you're evil. Pour me a cup of that evil. It's good shit. That's the good shit. And that doesn't bug me. Like, so, you know, like, Tamamo's, like, literally, like, almost a mass murderer. Fucking Jack's a mass murderer. Fucking Nito, like, drowned people underneath,
Hey, it was for revenge.
It was for revenge, but still.
Not for
Hecking
honor,
Medea is, killed her children. Hecking, trying to just think of
being cute.
Doesn't stop her from being cute. Medusa literally just killed anyone who stepped onto her island and eventually ate her own siblings. It's like, people like I said, like, you definitely said, it's like, you want to piss people off, you know, just mention, like, how all the fucked up shit their waifu did. It's just like,
yes,
like,
no, I think it's more prominent in Japan a little, but definitely in the West too. You can put some people on tilt if you just talk about the mythology.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, my characters have fucking flaws, and you know what, that makes them not perfect, which is great. So I will adore them. I will adore them for their flaws, I'll adore them despite their crimes, and I'll adore them because I love them. Simple as that. But unfortunately, that runs into the problem is I have a fuck ton of characters I like. Like, if I'm gonna say knee-jerk reaction, I really like Tamamo. Tamamo, for being such a, I don't want to say in-depth character, but she got a lot of lore behind her, especially when you start getting to, amateur.
Honestly, I think she's pretty in-depth. It just depends on the source. In FGO, honestly, because, I don't know, Nasu's kind of lazy sometimes. Like, I shouldn't say that he's lazy all the time, because, you know, I'm only going to write 10,000 words for Family. Hey, it's like 30,000 words or whatever it turned into, you know? But Nasu definitely is awkward about retreading shit he already wrote. So a lot of that stuff is in extra CCC, you know, Extella, etc.
Oh yeah, Tamamo got a lot of good characterization in Extella. She, you know, wants to be the, you know, perfect housewife, but also she has to be a big bad ruler. And she needs her head pats so she doesn't break. It's great. But we're going to move on to that. So, Shion, thank you very much for your letter. Okay, so this one is signed by Beer Emoji. I don't know how that works, but okay. And they say, good day to you guys. Hope your day's amazing. Anyways, if you had a chance to compete in the Holy Grail War, what system would you prefer? Ainsburn, Moodsail, Ainsworth, or etc.? Which one's the Ainsworth Holy Grail?
That was from later seasons of Prisma. So that would be with class cards.
Oh, okay. Also, if you had to watch an esport take of a Holy Grail, what system would you prefer to watch?
I gotta be 100% honest. Well, I think Lucky thinks about this question. I don't really want to be in a Holy Grail War. It's a battle royale to the death. I don't like that. That seems like it would be bad. I mean, I could take my chances. If I did, I'd probably want something open-ended, like maybe Mooncell, because that's got, like, funnily enough, because it's in a video game, it's got video game-esque stuff where you can go practice with your servant in the dungeon and gather info and shit.
I like how someone's like, no, it's a battle royale to the servant's death. How many masters survive?
Also, if you're playing Mooncell, no, it's not. If you die in the game, you die in real life, guys. So, yeah, it seems like a bad idea.
Yeah.
No,
Lucky.
Good.
No, give Lucky a fate Requiem when everyone just has a fucking servant and they live their happiest life.
And can choose to be in a tournament if they feel like it.
Yes.
Now for esports though, probably the best format would be Mooncell, just because again, it's gamey.
It's gamey. I think it's like broadcasted. They have a whole bunch of simulated environments. Mooncell, just stop killing people. Just stop. Don't do that.
Also, honestly, speaking of Requiem, again, haven't read it, but I believe that's also a spectator sport, is when they have tournaments and stuff between servants, with Kirky and Blackbeard as commentators.
Really?
Yes. They're FGO cameos in Requiem. That's why I think they're bonus servants.
Oh. I don't know, I think the Mooncell one was kind of rigged. Kinda. If I remember correctly. Oh. So, yeah. But, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll call Aniplex and be like, yo! Localize some shits.
Localize!
I
don't know if anybody's gonna get that. That might be a little in the past.
Alright. But,
okay, Beer Emoji. At least one person in the audience got it. It's fine.
Thank you very much for your letter.
If just one person gets the joke, that's all you need.
Mm-hmm. So, this was from Card the Medic, who asked, Dear Lucky Omega, first off, I'm glad that your new mailbag segment has worked so well. Now on to my burning question that has plagued my heart for the past 30 minutes. If had to choose between improving your luck when getting more servants you wanted in the future or getting better and more frequent match drops, what's your favorite knight, cavalry, or an extra class? Yes, the servant versus mass joke was a joke. Signed, Card the Medic. Well, you just pulled the switcheroo on us. How fucking dare. How dare. So, my favorite class? Well, out of the knight classes, I'm pretty sure it's Archer. Because I like bows. Bows are great. Out of Cavalry, it's gonna be Caster. Berserkers are great, but I just love the utilitarian of Casters. It's great. And out of the extra class, I want to say Alter Ego, because even though technically Alter Egos by themselves aren't necessarily anything particularly interesting, they are just basically another facsimile of something that already exists. There's a lot of interesting characters in the Alter Ego class. I mean, that's where you got your Sakura 5. That's probably where you're going to get your Tiamats, but you got your Kiaras. It's the fun one.
Well, they haven't actually used it for that. Technically, the Tamamo 9 are characterized as alter egos.
Yeah. So it's the fun grab bag of classes.
Omega's answer is Saber, and Saber.
You like swords?
If you want me to be serious about the cavalry and extra, it's probably got to be Rider. Riders are fun. They have lots of NPs, and they have a lot of different stuff they do. It's very, very entertaining. And it has nothing to do with the fact that I really, really like Medusa. Well, actually, honestly, there's a lot of fun people I like in Rider. And then for extra, it's gotta be Foreigner. Foreigner's the most interesting to me, even though they're scary. I still own my giant H.P. Lovecraft Cthulhu Mythos omnibus, so you know what I'm about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and anyway, also, we'll talk about Voyager more later, but Now they're doing really interesting things with Foreigner, too, so... Yeah.
So, Cardomatic, thank you very much for your letter, and we move on to Miss Fujoshi, also known as Horny on Main. Hey, Lucky Omega, thanks for doing this segment. It's giving me wholesome Chaldea radio vibes. That's high praise. Now, for my questions, have you used any catalysts? If so, which ones will give you the best sports results in the FCO Gacha? Are there other catalysts you want to try in the future for a certain servant? I hope you're doing well, and may the Gacha bless you in your future roles. So, the most catalysts, I haven't really used catalysts any time recently, but I used to buy figurines. Let me look over my shelf here. Let's see, I have a Skahawk figure, I have a Saber Alter figure, I have 2 John figures, 1 John Alter figure, and 2 Tamamo figures. Those Tamamo figures were bought to roll for Tamamo. Same one with Skahawk. But they didn't necessarily work, if I remember correctly. Tamamo came up randomly. I got Skahawk on a ticket during Thanksgiving. Saber Alter I got, I want to say in the first few days of FGO, because I was being dumb and was rolling on Story Gacha. John came randomly, and I Vengeance rolled for John Alter. So my catalysts haven't really worked. I've also used non-figure catalyst as well. I remember famously I once bought a giant bottle of sake and got drunk rolling for Shootin'. It did not work. Nope. I got Shootin' while on the job at middle of the fucking night while screaming.
Correct.
This reminds me, I'm probably gonna be getting some money here soon. I think I might actually buy that little stream table thing where you can just put a button and have a sound come out, and I'm totally gonna get fucking more Chichichiwe from fucking the Gudaguda drama CD.
I've got a button for that, I just don't like to use it because it's very loud. Yeah, get a soundboard. We could do that.
I can't remember what the thing's called.
The stream goo. Mm-hmm. I think from the chat, I believe it's the stream deck.
I don't know what I said, but yes.
It is literally a soundboard, what you're describing, but I don't know if that's actually what the device is called.
Yeah, I think it is called a stream deck.
For Omega, if you don't have any other catalysts you've used, I don't have any figurines. I do, because I bought the collector's editions of Extella and Extella Link, have a lot of the little Saint Graph cards from that. Sometimes which are rewarding. I guess theoretically it worked. I have these big art class portfolio things. The first of which, talking about, what is art and stuff. Literally, it's got a small print version of the Mona Lisa, and I guess that worked because I did get a Da Vinci eventually. No. Glad that peaked for me. Don't know about for everybody else.
That was a soft one too. You guys are lucky.
But other than that, music is good. Music usually works for me. I did also get Aresh playing. What was it that Alf said earlier? It was something from Kosetsu Thought, which was in Evangelion, I believe, was the point that YouTube reference was to. I got Mordred playing some fucking summer cowabunga music. I don't remember. Stuff works. That, and I use those little phone blessers. Place phone here,
Oh yeah, I remember those.
I usually do that when I'm rolling for realsies. More casual rolls, I usually just make sure to roll in the middle of the night when my mana is at its peak, and be prepared to scream loud enough to wake the neighbors.
So, Fujo, that's what I like to call it. Thank you very much. Like I said, her saying that she thinks this is giving wholesome Chaldea radio vibes is high praise to me because she really likes watching Chaldea radio. So,
yep. And that's one of the things you're going for, honestly.
Yeah, I am. So we're gonna move on though because I don't even think I'm halfway through these, and I just keep talking about them.
No, and the mission clock is at 50 minutes.
I don't know. We can go 3. I don't mind doing 3 hours.
I mean, it's a big show about big things. It's fine. We'll be here forever. I'm just letting everybody know you are not off my wild ride yet.
All right. So this one comes from Proto. Ooh, excuse me. To Omega and Lucky, thanks to the both of you for accepting me in your Discord community and all the things that have happened in the last 2+ years. If you're accepting question, what is your opinion on this quote I saw in another Discord? Waifuism is the driving force behind fate now. Hopes everyone has a brighter future. So, first off, thank you for a letter. And to answer it, I'm gonna disagree with this. Waifuism is not the driving force behind Fate now. Fucking money is. Money.
Yes. Money drives
Now,
it.
money drives
You
it.
can make money from waifuism.
Mhm.
Well, so my first thought when I read this, if you don't mind me interrupting,
Go for it.
was I object to the now. Because in case y'all forgot, and let's be honest, some of the audience might be dirty secondaries who have only ever seen anime, like Fate Zero, which is what a lot of people get into for like, oh, the edge, it's so dark and serious, oh yeah, that's my try-hard edge-man voice. But this started as an erotic visual novel. It was an eroge that had literal heroine roots about waifus. So, I would argue that waifuism has always been the driving force behind Fate. But, no, I'm pretty sure the driving force behind Fate, besides just having fuck you money, which they definitely do, is just the rule of cool. It's just Nasu and his literal friends get together and they want to do cool or funny stuff. That's what's always driven Fate, and that's what continues to drive Fate.
They're making a fuck ton of money, and they're gonna use that money to do a fuck more cool things. Like, waifuism has, like, Omega's right. Waifuism's always been a fucking part of it. Like, I said, we'll probably, like, when we get into the big old list of Nasu works.
Oh, yeah.
See what me.
Oh, yeah.
Alright. But, Proto, I think that's it for your question. Thank you very much. And we're gonna move on.
I feel like we should have, like, bells or, like, Saturday morning radio sounds as we move through this.
Maybe.
Like, on to the next bit. Ding dong!
Ding ding! Alright, well, I'm skipping a few of these because some of these people didn't put aliases.
Oh, no,
How dare?
That's not good.
No!
Some of those questions are actually... Somebody literally commented to what you to put an alias. Rip. I'm gonna upvote and heart that one.
Let's see here. No, I'm gonna skip this one. Okay. Not for because it's necessarily bad, but I think I'd have to think way too long on it. All right, let's see here. Sure, let's do this one. Alias Rube. Thank you very much. Dear Lucky Omega, how do you think NA plans to move around events in June and July in order to get the anniversary out on time? P.S. Lucky, if you've gotten close or are close to 9 stenos, then you will achieve 9 live steno works. First off, Lucky doesn't care about the amount of stenos he's got. That's Omega. Like, I have an MP5 steno. I'm happy with her. She's great. She's max level, whatever.
And Lucky rolls so much with his pockets that he doesn't know how many extra stenos he may have.
Yeah. Remember, Lucky's tail is fucking 14 mamas back in summer 2.
A powerful curse.
Powerful curse. I was drowning in titty, alright? Lucky's a powerful man.
We're gonna have some... we're gonna have some fun follow-up stories, because Mordred's gonna have a solo raid-up day, and I already said I would do the bonus tickets on that day, just to see if I can get some extra NP for those sick loops!
Sick loops!
So, here's predicting that somehow in 5 tickets, Tomalancer will become my first NP5 5-star, somehow. But we'll see what happens. It'll probably be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't actually... it's not worth me spending tickets over. I don't care about Summer and Mary and the Summer Kijyo enough to bother, so... I wait for the solo day, as always.
Solo. So, as for plans to move around events, some people have been concerned that they're going to just skip events, and I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not happening.
Well, yeah. Also, hey, most of those people were talking about Kogetsukan didn't happen.
Yeah.
You were wrong. It didn't happen. It happened for real. It did happen,
good.
And skipping didn't happen.
Nope. Well, people don't listen to Albert, clearly.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. But also, no, people haven't listened to Albert for literally years. Hey, Lucky, do you think we're gonna get the CCC event?
No, totally not, no.
I don't know. I feel like I've pitched my version of this pretty good, but I'm pretty sure the way it's gonna shake out is that we're gonna get Gudaguda for a couple of weeks, soon, in like the first week of June. And then after that, we'll probably get a couple of weeks, or 2.5 weeks, however that actually shakes out, for Lost Belt 2. Because we're going to move that up to make sure that we've got enough space, because normally that would be like early July, and that needs to be before our anniversary, which I am predicting as again, our anniversary actual stuff will drop on the July 4th weekend. That's about a week after our actual anniversary, but that's the time they've always done the stuff, so that gives them plenty of time to space out Lost Bolt 2. I don't know, there might be a break week in there. I have to double check what events are happening. But I'm pretty sure that the Summer 2 rerun's getting pushed, but nobody will seriously complain. The thing that has to happen is both Gudaguda 3 and Lost Belt 2 have to come out before our anniversary. Because I believe Napoleon, Sigurd, and Okita Alter will all be on the GSSR. And then, of course, as we said, Scotty will be the big anniversary banner servant, and JP is actually pretty strict about spoilers and stuff, so they will not have her appear out of schedule when that wasn't intended. Like, if they didn't deliberately plan it that way, they're not going to do it that way.
Nope.
So that's my thoughts.
I'm gonna leave it to Omega, because he's the one who looks at dates a lot. I'm the one over here playing with fucking butterflies, yo.
I'm just up here, moving stuff around, pushing the pieces around.
Mm-hmm. So, Rube, thank you very much for your letter. Moving on, ding dong, to the wannabe Harris protagonist. Thank you very much for your letter. Dear Omega and Lucky, I started playing FGO at the end of the Fate Zero event, and these past 2 years I've been loving FGO and your show ever since I found it. Your show helped me out a lot in my early FGO days, and it's always a treat listening to you guys. My question is, how do you guys manage multiple gacha games at once? I've tried, but I never feel like I'm managing my time properly or making as much progress as I would playing multiple console games, for example. P.S. Sorry, guys, I talked about this already. Memory fails sometimes. Don't worry, wannabe a Harem protagonist. I feel you on that. Fuck. But, Lucky is actually pretty good at the multi-gacha drift. Honestly, as long as I'm not trying to watch anything, like actually watch like anime or play like a console game, I can usually manage like 2 to 3 gacha games at once. And the best way to do it is you have to actually split it up among devices.
Yeah,
like,
I can actually, and have done in the past, we'll talk more about what's up. I've done phone and PC. Mm-hmm. You actually have a tablet that works, don't you?
Yeah. Like, because I have BlueStacks now and I have a tablet, I can literally... And the second thing is your gacha games need to have some sort of autoplay system. Like, with, like, Azure Lane and Arknights, I'll just literally set up, the maps to go. It's like, all right, do this. All right, let it go. Go switch my attention to a game like FGO, which requires me to do more tapping. And then, like, maybe, like...
Or when you're doing new maps in Arknights, for instance.
Or new maps in Arknights, yeah. So it's basically finding the rote, either using the autoplay functions or the rote's rote play, I guess to say. Because Girls Frontline is what I would call a kind of rote play, where you because they don't necessarily have an auto system, but you can set up a path, and if you know the path, like the best way to take it, you can set that up.
You can auto battle, but also it has planning mode, which is just autoplay, and it's kind of like the battles in Girls Frontline are already basically automatic. The planning mode is just like, hey, imagine if in Azure Lane you could plan out your moves ahead of time, which I don't think would work, but it's like that. You just move across the map and do the stuff.
Yeah. So, like I said, first off, as I said, if you're gonna be playing multiple gacha games, make sure that's what you're gonna be doing. Even if I'm playing like a video game or watching something, I can only like play one gacha game at the same time because I have to pay attention to all that. But if I'm just playing gacha games, as I said, I'll get my phone, I'll get my tablet, and I'll get my computer, run one on each of them. Well, actually, probably not on my tablet anymore because it's dying! It
happens.
But, and you split it up. So yeah, if you try to play multiple gacha games on like just your phone, it's not gonna work. It's never gonna work.
No, you gotta learn to balance your time and stuff, and also you're gonna run out of space because
you're gonna run out of space. So, if you have a computer, I would definitely suggest getting something like BlueStacks. That's what I use.
BlueStacks is a good one.
Yep.
Nox works for some people.
Mm-hmm.
Just find an emulator. Mm-hmm. Or if you happen to have like a tablet and a phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Basically, my answer is the same as Lucky's.
Yeah.
Just the other thing is that it's important to try and find a way to marshal time when stuff is actually happening. Like right now,
actually,
event and points ladder for Girls Friend has just ended, so that's not doing anything big. So I'm just logging in, right?
Yeah.
Azure Lane was doing a rerun, so that's not super important because I did the first version and got all the shit, and I got like 2 of the new stuff. Curse me on builds.
That's something I wanted to add in. When you're looking at multiple gacha games, decide which is the most important for you and put most of your focus onto that.
Like, right now, out of the 4 I play, which is basically the same 4 that Lucky plays, Arknights and maybe FGO are the ones that need the most focus, because Arknights has a new event that is time-limited and involves a lot of story, and then FGO has limited time quests in it, whereas Girls Frontline and Azure Lane are not as important because I've been playing them both for a while.
By the way, Lucky didn't actually make it to 1800s on the point layer because he fucked up. Because he kept falling asleep. Good job, Lucky. Good job.
That's okay. That happens. Yesterday after I finished my work, I had to figure out the fastest way to do it. One of which was just I got to like 20 points away, and I'm just like, so I'm 5 out of 10 on repair T-dolls, so I'm literally just gonna take a squad of T-dolls and smash them into a boss and just fix them real fast. It's the only way I'm gonna get this done tonight. Ooh, I need that gif, especially because I actually like that series.
I do like the world God only knows,
and that's him going crazy, playing like 50 games at once. It's amazing. Love that game.
Kama. Anyway, so that is our answer. I hope it made sense. So thank you very much. So, this one doesn't have an alias. Skipped. Oh, I like this one. This one is from a hunter who wishes a world without whiffs. And they ask, Dear Lucky and Omega, let's be a bit of fun with this one. Out of all the females in Fate, who would you think would be best mom and why? And the reverse, who would you think would be a terrible mom and why? From a hunter wishes the world without whiffs. P.S. We know that Emiya is actually best mom. Actually, like, honestly, as much as we joke, I really don't consider Emiya much of a mom. They're just someone who's good at, dealing with life and taking care of people. Which is kind of mom-like.
And Archer is, because he is Emiya Shiro, has had to deal with not having a parental figure.
So,
thanks, Taiga.
So they are good at just doing chores, cleaning, shopping, cooking, because they live on their own. Mm-hmm. And you just put someone else in the mix, and it's just like, well, I guess I'll just take care of you too.
Yeah, and other than Sakura, I don't think many of the big people in Shiro's life could do any of that. So let's go ahead and chalk up to the bad list. Just go ahead and slap Taiga Sensei up there.
Yeah. Literally mooched food off of Shiro for years. Yeah. Tiamat is Mega Mama, but I don't think she's necessarily a good mother.
Also, I mean, so Tiamat's literal description in her materials about what she thinks about the Master is 1 of 6 billion, right?
Yeah.
She's a macro scale mama.
Yeah.
I don't know if she'd be great at managing the day-to-day business. Honestly, that's a question. I don't know, because, I mean, while obviously being a person who exists, I have a mother, it's not exactly a whole, it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing, so it's a really complex question. I don't know.
Honestly, if we're going with general, I would definitely say Boudica makes a great mom.
Yes, Boudica is a proven mother.
Yes.
If you fuck with her children, she will burn your city to the ground. So much so that to this day there is an archaeological lair of strata under Londinium, which is called the Boudica Destruction Lair.
So much, just so much that they have a statue of the woman who burnt down their city.
Well, see, here's the thing. Being incredibly Anglo myself, we consider Boudica one of us, even though she burned down the city. It was full of dirty Romans at the time.
So, Boudica is top tier. A lot of people would say Raiko. I would not say Raiko is greatest mother tier. She's definitely very motherly, but she's also very smothering. Very smothering. Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm trying to... There are quite a few characters who they don't acknowledge, but are mothers. We don't talk about that too much, but Shikabu has a child. Which honestly, she could be. She's very calm and collected and professional. Lady Murasaki could do some things. She could be a nice mommy.
I think she could be a good education.
Shiki also is a great mom, who looks exactly the same as she does 10 years later. And I don't know if Shiz would be a great mother figure. Well, she'd be great at stories, but that's about it.
Let's see here. I'm trying to think.
For making babies.
Yeah.
That's it. By the way, that is not what this question is about. Definitely. There's a lovely list there, but no. Nier would actually be a bad mother because she didn't have a good mother figure. Nier's mother was awful.
No. Let's see here. I'm trying to just go down through my list.
I'm just trying to
Skahak would
think
be
who in Fate is good parents. Because there are a lot of jokes.
How is Skahak as a mother? Because Skahak is a mother.
Well, I know what Skahak is like, so I'm going to assume she'd be the exact same way with her child as she is with everybody else.
I guess that's true.
I mean, she didn't clam jam her own kid from getting with Ku, I guess.
There might be some
Irie's a very good. Okay.
Irie is.
I'm thinking to myself thoughts about Prisma Irie.
No, like here's the thing.
Who's a good and positive mother, but
she's the mother that you want to take care of. She's not the mother that you want to take care of you.
I mean, if you were in trouble, she'd crash a fucking car to come get you. But also, I don't know. Irie's got a little bit of that naivete, right? Because she's used to the world, so.
Irie's a mother that I want to dote on, rather than have her dote on me. You know? I think I'm kind of in the same way that I feel with Europa, but unfortunately I don't have a lot of Europa's characters at the moment, so I'm like, heck.
Europa is a very loving mother/grandmother. She'd probably be okay. She's very soft-spoken.
Let's see here. I don't know. Look, let's see. Is Kirky's technically a mother?
Probably, yes.
I don't know. She's alright.
No, card, no.
Not
that's bad.
No,
that's a bad one.
No, bad.
That doesn't work. No,
that's part of the legend. No. Medusa has kids, but
also in Fate, I think Medusa's kids are like clones of her, kind of. It's weird.
And in Legend, they literally like sprung. One literally came from the blood. Actually, didn't both of them come from the blood spurting from her fucking net?
Yes, those were supposed to be. Depending on the myth, those are her kids with Poseidon. Hence why one is a giant and one is a horse. But Chrysaor is the... No, he's not a boar. It's not how that works. Chrysaor is a golden giant. The boar is, I think, related to Bellerophon. I think so with Pegasus. But also in Fate, I'm pretty sure Chrysaor is just a more golden and smaller Gorgon. That's Gorgon's Bonsi. Yeah, I don't really know what to do with that S, A, and O. I know how to say cray and then sour?
Also, the misconception does not hinge on qualification of good motherhood, but the fact that your mother was kind of killed at your birth kind of does.
Yeah, no. No, I don't think Medusa has any.
Yes, Chacha has children. Chacha having children was the reason that Osaka Castle got burnt down.
That's not clear. The chat is just derailing us completely with trying to suggest stuff. I just want to put out, since we did bring up Chrysaor, where is my golden saber Medusa? That's it. That's all I got. It's a complex question picking the best. There's a lot to pick from. It's not necessarily it's not necessarily who you'd think and who you'd want.
Like, honestly, like, I think I'm gonna say for like my most solid pick for Lucky would probably be Boudica.
I would say Boudica or Mary. Somebody mentioned Mary. That's another good one.
Like, just without having to get too deep into their lore and whatnot and the traits that they've already exhibited in Fate, I'm gonna say Boudica. Yeah. Boudica. Oh yeah.
No, Shootin' probably eats her children or something. Or, pushes them off a cliff to show them who's boss.
Alright, so, moving on to the next one. Thank you very much for your letter. Next one, from One Star Faker. Yo, Lucky Omega, how you do? These mailbox readings are great. My question is, what servants would you like to see fight in a Holy Grail War? Do you see that servant winning the whole shebang? Keep up the good works, my dude. Everyone likes to ask us about favorite servants, and we keep having them being like, who? Got thirst for revenge?
Again, I don't think it's physically possible. I am running a homebrew game, and I have a huge document of homebrewed characters to let you know what I find interesting. It's a very long list.
As I said, Lucky has been very interested in having a Avenger Lilith, but when I say Avenger Lilith, I mean, there's like already a regular Holy Grail War, and then Avenger Lilith just comes in, boom, knocks in the door. I was the secret boss all along. But by that rule, that means she's also gonna get fucking wiped by the power of fucking friendship at some point. But if I was to be fighting in it, I've said I had a big love with John Henry, but I don't think he would win. because I'm pretty sure his Nobbu Phantasm would literally kill him at the end, and that means all he has is big berserker strength and a giant steampunk hammer. Might not work. But other than that, let's see. What servant do I think would win the whole shebang? I don't know. I honestly can't think of. Because, let's see, servant winnings is kind of this really nebulous concept, because in most Holy Grail Wars, there's never ever actually a clear fucking winner. Things always go awry. They always go awry. So, winners of Holy Grail Wars are kind of this really nebulous concept to me. It really is. I can't think of it. Thanks, Nasu. I blame you. Ugh. So, we're gonna keep moving on, as I said. So, I'm gonna read this one just because I need to put you on fucking blast a little bit. So, this one is from that guy who forgot to name himself last post. Dear Lucky and Omega, if you were a servant, what class would you be? What lore, servant stance would you have, and abilities in the game, and how would they work in the actual Holy Grail War, Bond 5 lines, essential materials, wish for the ground, all that stuff? And if they were pseudo, what being, god, or vague character would possess them? Congrats on 2.5 State Cubs. I still love this shit. What are you asking to come?
I literally shrunk down in my chair as you read all that.
What are you asking for us to come up with on the fucking spot? Seriously. That is a lot to think about and talk about. Like, if you just say if you were a servant, like, what class would you be? That's cool. But you're literally asking us to come up with an entire servant profile and, like, mechanical benefits on the spot on a show that, what's the mission clock at right now, buddy?
We have just crossed an hour 15.
So, like, I'm not against answering these kind of questions, but you can't give it all at once. You can't give it all at once. Bit at a time. So we're just gonna start with class for today, and next week I want you to keep in, and we'll go line by line here. All right, my dude. All right. This is what's happening.
So
this is also another reason why I
question until 2025.
Yeah, why not? So I'm gonna start. So right now there are three lucky classes. There is Caster Lucky, Berserker Lucky, and Alter Ego Lucky. For which ones is which, we'll leave that for later. Omega, what's your class?
It's called Watch the One Episode of Bonus Stage That Exists.
Yeah.
That's
Omega
right.
actually
I did this already.
Yeah, he did.
I'm not doing my work twice. Though, as an alternate, because that one was one class, also in real life, Archer is probably the closest to me, because I actually occasionally have performed ranged attacks.
Okay. But
actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna go obscure. I'm gonna say that my class is Gunner. One of the other dumb shit extra classes that we've made up for no goddamn reason. I could be Watcher or Gatekeeper. No. Let's move on. So there you go. That is it for our mailbag this week. Thank you all for your submissions. For those who didn't get read, please remember to follow the rules. Aliases are important. Aliases are so I can put you on blast, and people reading might not necessarily who you are. Yeah, we don't want to just read your YouTube names.
Yeah.
Even though anybody can cross-reference the... Whatever, doesn't matter.
People, I don't know. If people are if people are going to go through that much effort to find out who said a thing, I think there's a little thing. Anyway.
Right. We will now take an intermission.
Yeah!
Okay, we're back. That was our intermission. It is time now for free talk.
Yeah.
That's right, Robin. That was all mailbag back there. That's all mailbag. I hope you did not write individual timestamps for every individual question. If you did, go back and erase them. That was all just mailbag.
Oh, Cheshire message me.
Okay.
Hang on. Gotta go to Twitter.
Screw some stuff on my headphones. Okay. So, first up in free talk, we're going to talk about the Kogetsukan whole thing. Final thoughts, finale, whatever. So, if you didn't do it yet, and you don't know the answer, you should stop now. You already got an hour and 20-minute show. It's fine. Because the only bullet point I've actually written down is called stats, so I'm going to pull those up.
Okay.
But since Lucky has been talking a lot for a little bit there, reading all those lovely questions you've sent us, we can get into some of the overall. So, well, first of all, I want to say this was a super interesting thing to watch from like a fandom perspective, to watch people working on the problem, figuring stuff out, talking their way through the clues and stuff, etc. Because we did a lot of discussions off and on in our spoiler chat and stuff. It's very interesting stuff they got. So there's a lot of interesting things people did and said. But yeah, that was fun to watch and kind of watch everybody work on it, come to a conclusion, especially because I knew the answer. There was some stuff I did not remember, like the twist that that Sherlock was the actual detective thanks to time hacks.
Lucky was right that Sherlock was not dead, but I was still bamboozled.
Yeah, that was a weird one with the... I assume it had to be moved probably because of, like, full moon timing and stuff. Because it actually was linked to things. I mean, there were a couple things, like... There were some interesting observations, again, about the fandom where... So I feel like it must just be us Westerners are, like, way more paranoid about... not about, like, the culprit or whatever, about the authors trying to get us. They're gonna gotcha us. They're gonna subvert our expectations. Because there were a lot of people who were, like, trying to second-guess everything and double-check stuff, and who were not very trusting of information presented to them, which was very interesting to see. Especially because... Fair.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I was going to say, just because the setup for Kogetsukan literally invokes the rules of what is sometimes called a fair cop whodunit. It is about the most legit murder mystery you can get. And that's probably why, other than just looking at the answer, that's probably why a majority of people found the culprit, because if you, so long as you actually catch all the clues are laid out for you, you can figure it out.
Well, as I said, like I said, Lucky got it right. He did. But he only got it right because when I arrived at my first answer, I was like, this is a little too clean.
Well, what was your first answer?
My first answer was going to be Eva.
So what made you doubt that?
Well, the fact that it's like, wait a minute, everything here lines up a little too neatly. Because as I said, they gave you a lot of clues, and every clue had a part in fucking what's the word, in solving a mystery. But then I realized that I didn't the part in which they say these characters may not be who you seem, which is actually a meta clue, was irking me.
Right. They established in story earlier that your perceptions of them as characters do not line up 1-to-1. Hi, Morris.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the one niggling thing that got me. I was like, because I could tell, like, again, we're gonna go with spoilers. I knew for a fact that it was the mother of the Violet family.
Right. And actually, I am looking at the 1, 2, and 3 for both the JP and the EN versions of the poll. Most people did cotton on. First place, Harriet, who was the culprit, because that's why we all got that 10 acorns.
Yep.
Second place for both was Dorothy. Now, interestingly enough, in English, slightly more of us got that it was Harriet, and slightly less of us thought that it was Dorothy, but slightly more people thought it was Ava, who was 3. So those are that's basically the mother question mark.
Yeah.
And the big brain, galaxy brain strat for why it's not Ava is that because Chris could write 3 letters, he would have just written Ava or An if it was either of them. But also there's just the meta text of just like actually review it, because there are quite a lot of ambiguous dialogue clues.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't cotton on into the ambiguous clues until I was trying. All right, so I was trying to figure out where does this misperception line up? Because that was I would say my big stumble. Everything else was fucking sweet and gravy. Like I said, once Chris had died, I'm like, all right, definitely fucking the contract company's off the table. There's no reason for them to do it. Also, because of the letter, there's no reason for any of the Golding family to do it. That'd just be self-fucking harm. And then,
there is the thought, because he wrote Mom, that it could be Dorothy, because now her child is gonna spring to the lead, not some of those other kids. But also, if you've ever seen Dorothy at all, not only does she have a pretty solid alibi, though 8% of people in the States and 12% of people in Japan still thought she could have pulled it off in 5 minutes, or less. But she's kind of out of the picture, and then the real question is, well, okay, so which Violet actually is it?
Yeah. And I didn't want to, and as I said, I ruled out Adamska, because he's trying to do what's best for the family, and everything here is just jeopardizing it.
Shockingly, for the most part, all the males are way at the bottom of the list in both.
Yeah.
And actually, in JP, we were slightly less suspicious of most of them than we were, except Morris. Somehow, despite being dead, Morris climbed to 0.34% in the States, or in the general EN, as opposed to just 0.2% in JP. Mm-hmm. Below both the dads. Mm-hmm. But still above Kane and Wu.
And, reading
actually,
on
Kane's
Adamska,
also much higher, 0.4 here.
But also, Adamska, the more I read him, the more he reminds me of Lancelot character is, he's just a guy trying to do his best. He might not be the most suited for this biz. So I was like, no, it's not you. And Kane, Kane is Kane. He's kind of a high school guy who doesn't want to stand out at all. So
yes,
he acts
he's smarter than he looks, but it's not worth it. Also, BT Dubs, guys, what the fuck? What is wrong with you? Lori it's 0.05, but she is higher percentage in the rankings than Kane is for us. Why? What's wrong with you people? Is it because she has the axe? It's bias. Mm-hmm. The axe is fake. It's not real. She's a literal child. Like, even more so than Kane, who is, high school aged and clearly has some brains on him. It's just, no. What's wrong with you people?
Yeah, so at this point, I'm like, we're basically down to, in the Violet family is the twins and the mother. And I'm just like, I've been like, as I said, and, Juliet has a fucking alibi, along with you. Right. So, literally, it's down to Harriet and Eva.
Though somehow, again, this is another stateside weird one. Somehow, in America, she's Juliet's number 4 in both, but in Japan, it was only a little over 1%. In America, it was a full-blown 3% of the vote was Juliet. I'm like, what? What are you guys going for? Mm-hmm. It's the only other thing that to me is just as crazy is despite the fact that we are told multiple time by multiple rules, we can't be the killer. In both sets, the main character, Juliet's friend, is still close to 1%, is in the top, around the top 5. Like, it's 6 for us, and literally 5 in JP. Why, guys? Why?
So, basically, you're down to Harriet and Eva, and you learn through collect clues and other whatnot that the mother is definitely not okay with this marriage happening. Mm-hmm. So, basically, it's the Violet family mother. And so, I was 110% on that, but then I'm just like, okay, but at this point, I'm just like, but there's always a fucking twist. So this is me meta. This is me doing meta knowledge. It's just like, there's always a fucking twist. What is that twist? So I basically had to run down. I was like, all right, why do I see Raiko as Raiko? Raiko's super motherly, and super motherly, and Harriet is Harriet because she's fucking twins with Juliet. I'm like, but then I started realizing, like, actually the thing, like, I didn't catch a lot of
which the game is kind enough to go over for you if you missed.
Yeah. But the thing, though, I do remember the line is that they said that they're fraternal twins.
Yes.
Not identical twins. That was the line that was like, made me go, wait a fucking minute.
Yeah. And Juliet, well, that's one of the conversations that's a clue. Juliet is like, because you will say, oh, you're a lot like your sister, aren't you? And she's like, really? I mean, we're fraternal. I don't think we're that much. I think Ava's more like, or my sister is more like my mother because she doesn't use pronouns, which, by the way, is true. That is actually a thing. If you don't realize that, you haven't been talking to enough real people and been reading too many books. People don't actually refer to each other by name often. Pronouns. It's the same in Japanese.
So that was because that was like the only thing that saved me from picking Ava.
Your intuition was right, even if you didn't pick up on the specific clues. You were like, wait a second. Your detective's instincts were something is amiss here, and you got it.
Yeah, but as I said, I didn't have a clean. I solved the problem, but I didn't do it cleanly, I'd say.
I would say the same, because I knew the answer beforehand, but I still, that made me more aware about the clues, but I still not that I was necessarily looking for them, but I was able to catch all the references that came up later. Mm-hmm. And they are phrased that way, where, like, Ava reacts weird when you say Ms. Violet. Mm-hmm. Also, in general, interestingly enough, despite, being played, actually, probably not despite being played by Raiko, Ava's very big horny energy.
Yeah, actually, now that I thought, like, when I got the solution, I was like, actually, wait, that's right. Mama Raiko is kind of big titty energy, but she's really not horny on main. She just smothers you motherly, and unfortunately, she just has big titties. So that was another one of those weird things I realized, like, wait a minute. Reiko's not big horny energy. I mean, when you're near her, you're probably feeling the horny. But her herself? Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
And also, if you think about their dialogue, Adamska, despite the fact that you know that he married into the Violet family, is very much like, hey, Eva, knock it off. You know?
Yeah. And honestly, like, also looking at it, I realized that with Eva being horny on main, that doesn't make sense for their marriage. Because despite everything, it looks like they had a pretty solid marriage going on, so it wouldn't make sense for the mother to be hitting on to every piece of meat.
No, that's much more like the other, that's like the Goldie, where Aaron is known for being a womanizer and has no idea what he's doing.
Again, unfortunately, I only put these clues together after it, so...
Well, that's okay, and the double twist is then that some people did catch, or write about from JP and cheated, was the incest angle. Mm-hmm. Which I was not 100% sure of. Though, at least one person who said that also was like, Anne's not actually Chris's mom. It doesn't matter. I'm like, no, she is, though. She says it later. She admits it. There was another couple of weird things just like watching the audience. Several people said, oh, I'm not going to look at the JP. They could just change it. No, they definitely couldn't. I think people underestimated how story-heavy this is. Because it's a whole big fucking chapter at the end. Explaining everything with, like, detailed motivations and scenes. You can't just be like, oh, we'll change it to surprise. No. That requires writing. Original writing, which they don't have. And it wasn't so ambiguous that you could slot any character in as the murderer, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, I don't think it's just that the character we all voted on became the culprit, right? Because, again, that would be not enough time in advance to pick it. It's not that ambiguously written. But it was very interesting to see people try and take that position and then just be like, nah, though, let's not. But yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff in there, and I really liked watching it. And then I know some people were kind of like, oh, I'm sad Holmes did the big reveal. Again, I'm thinking that's just a writing thing, though. It's because they
honestly, like, the more I thought about it,
because you could pick it wrong. And in fact, Holmes has a whole, in the spotlight moment after the end where he's like, if you got it right, good on you. If you didn't get it right, don't worry about it.
Well, like, honestly, like, the more I think about it, I don't think we were necessarily the detective. I think we were the Watson.
And honestly, that makes sense. The player character is like that usually. They are being young. They are probably a couple steps behind the average reader. We were playing the role of the detective at times because Holmes was in the background, but when it actually looped that that Sheringham was Holmes, that kind of solidified him.
Because I had that moment of revelation when he pulls the big surprise, and it's like, haha, not quite like Watson, but good enough. I was like, oh, I'm the actual fucking Watson in this story.
Well, and that makes sense, too, because we're the viewpoint, which is what Watson's job was. Watson's job is to be the viewpoint for the audience so you can watch Sherlock Holmes work. Because if you... I've said this a couple of times over the while, but it's interesting that this is basically a fair cop, because a lot of Sherlock Holmes novels are not, because... you don't see Sherlock's mind, which would give it away, because you would understand what theories he's working on and what evidence he is, whereas Watson acts as a lens to show you Sherlock work, but he won't give it all away before the big reveal. But yeah, some people actually like to, they were a little disappointed, but I'm like, no, but I understand kind of why, because, like, again, that would mean they'd have to, like, write a variation of the scene where you, like, accuse somebody wrong or something, as opposed to just, Holmes gives you a moment to figure it out, and then is like, okay, I'm gonna do the reveal. Like, he metatextually gives you, the reader, a chance to figure it out, but then he's like, okay, now we're actually gonna do in story, because that makes sense. Lucky he's typing stuff.
Sorry, so I made friends with an artist recently, and she's super interested in my Monster Go board game, so I'm trying to sell it to her right now.
Well, tell them to listen to the show, or listen to the next show where I'm sure you'll talk about it. But yeah, so Kogetsukan was really fun to read. I liked it a lot because I like mysteries. I got it, obviously, because of reasons. There were a couple twists that I didn't catch, which was... So it's not like it was boring to me. It was like good watching to see all the pieces come together. And you can kind of... When people ask that question, oh, they could just change it, you do have to do that double take of, could they? And obviously the answer is not really, but when you get that little bit of doubt, that introduces mystery back into the equation. Because you're not sure. You can't be sure until the actual reveal happens. Still, super fun event. Liked it a lot. I'll be interested to see how next year the Meiho Residence event should be similar, where it's got, I think I mentioned this before, it'll have servants playing roles of characters, and it will have some of that voting element. So that should be interesting to kind of see. But yeah, Lucky, do you have any more thoughts about Kogetsukan you'd like to throw down?
No, I think I got most of them out. As I said, like, honestly, I like the twists. As I said, if I had just been literally paying just a little less attention, I would have just slapped in Ava and technically been wrong. So,
yeah,
again,
and you would have got just like technically the protagonist was.
Yeah, because like I said, I would have been right in Mother of the Violent Family, but I'll be wrong about actual mothering. Which, honestly, the more I think about it, is a very, very interesting technical point. Where you can
it's a very interesting twist, because you can know who it is, but because of your perceptions, you're not sure.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, and it's a thing that only works in a text-based game like this, because Julia introduces them, so I guess we're just going off the idea that she didn't, like, point to who was whom. She just thought it was natural, which could also be because, maybe, you got your whole whatever going on. Anyway, actually, in the light novel, did they give the character a name?
I'm not sure. They gave her a design.
Protagonist possessing. Which they do make some comments which let you know what they're let you know that there's some stuff there, even regardless of what you're doing, because the comments are the same regardless of what gender you're playing as.
Mm-hmm. Well, also something that I super appreciate is that despite you totally hijacking this person's pronoun, it's like, I'm gonna progress this fucking relationship because...
Well, yeah, you say what they would want to say in this moment. Because there is some weird moon magic, and you got picked as a problem solver to solve this problem.
Honestly, as much as we, as I like to say it, like, the way I thought of it, as much as, like, servants were made to overlay with people for relations, we would probably pick for the same reason, because we're probably similar to the protagonist of Kogetsukan.
Mm-hmm. And we know what they want to say to Juliet in that moment. So, Juliet X them forever.
Yes. Like, honestly, like, I would not be against if the Goldie and Violet families came up in the future. I'm kind of invested in them.
Yeah, unfortunately, the timeline's currently kind of fucked, so...
Yeah.
The space-time continuum is currently bricked. That's why we had to go back to 2019. We had a flashback, technically.
I know, but... Like I said, I got invested. Like, a lot of people are talking about how much they like Juliet's character, even though
Juliet's great. It's really interesting because, again, we talk about appearances. She's got Steno's face, so you'd think that she'd be the bitchy one, but she's not really. She's actually quite nice and okay. It's probably because she has kind of an austere, distant background. Like, we are literally her only friend. Mm-hmm. And honestly, also, people are being rude in the live chat now, and I'm wondering if I should destroy their entire careers or not. Anyway, Rika is the name. Okay. But yeah, there were several hints that possibly other than the fact that Morris is kind of a dickhead. There were hints that one of the reasons why this might not work is because of basically incompatible orientation. That Juliet's not really interested in Morris in that way. Yeah. But yeah, okay, Kogetsukan. It's fun.
I like it.
Good job. We'll see more. All right. Now it is time for the next big blob of text. Well, actually, Kogetsukan wasn't a big blob of text, but in-game it was. So it's time to talk about New Servant Deets. Board Game Edition. So, let's start at the top. We have Voyager, a new SSR foreigner. He is limited. He is a literal spacecraft, not a cosmic horror. Some people have been throwing out there that he's, the little prince. No, that is wrong.
He's literally a satellite.
While he does share some design elements, especially in his second ascension with that character, because when in the light novel, when Erice finds him, she thinks he's a little prince. That's not what he's about. That was just a reference. And it's a reference they have to dodge around because of copyright, I believe. Because that is not a public domain character. But, yeah, he's a spacecraft, not a cosmic horror. But he is in space. So that's a really fun one they got going on there. Really interesting stuff. So, he has the lowest attack but highest HP for the class. So, setting some records. QQAAB deck. Being really our first quick-focused foreigner. So, foreigners can have good... Well, they do have decent middling star weight and can have good generation. I've noticed there's some wild swings. Like, for instance, Hokusai has very middling, not low, but middling star gen, whereas some of the later foreigners, like I believe Yang and definitely Voyager have higher, higher mid-tier. Yes, their weight is about the same. So that is a good quality. Foreigner is a decent class for that. He has rounded generation for NP and stars with 3 hits and average NP gain for them. So 3 hits in everything. Pretty decent. His NP is an AoE Quick, which has a self-NP buff first, and then deals bonus damage to heaven enemies, and then charges the party's NP 20%, unless they are still living, which includes some demi and pseudo-servants. Then they get a total of 30% NP battery. I'm going to guess that Erice counts for synergy. Mash definitely probably counts, and then it's some pseudo, so I don't know if that's like Ishtar. That'd be funny if it was just Ishtar and not a Reshkigal, but anyway. I'm sure Gray counts, stuff like that. Certain pseudos and so on count. So that's a fun one. And also, interestingly, does more bonus damage to Heaven, which in JP, that attribute is translated as Sky, which is funny. Mm-hmm. So obviously, with being a multi-hit with a self-NP buff and a party charger and bonus damage, he can actually hit pretty decently and gets that NP stimulated, so a lot of people immediately are like, Scotty, oops. Voyager does in fact work for the Scotty system, but also is good even without it. Still slap pretty hard despite being quick, got a lot of stuff. So first skill is Voyager from the Stars, which is like Pioneer of the Stars, but not. 30 to 50% battery, that's a big one. 3 turns of debuff immunity, just straight up, and gain 10 stars. Very solid for what Quick wants. Fast NP, debuff immunity, stars. Second skill is Swing By. This gives him 1 turn of evade and 3 turns of 10 to 20% quick up, and gives the targeted enemy 10 to 20% quick down for 3 turns. So, good if you have like a boss or something, or a big chungus in a wave you really want to slap, and otherwise just improves his overall performance. 20% is not super great, but it does other stuff and has his evade in it. Final skill is his own version of Blessing from World's End. This is a fun one because it gives the party 20 to 30% crit up, and gives a targeted ally a big star weight buff. And also has 10 to 20% crit resistance for the party, which I think is the first time that buff has ever been used. It's basically a reverse of crit chance down. I assume it'll cause the crit miss effect to proc, but it's on your servants, not the enemies. And because it's multiple turns, that can actually be more useful than just proccing crit down on somebody if you're just gonna, blow them the fuck up, right? Really interesting stuff. Passives are outside the domain C for a little bit of debuff resist and 2 stars per turn. He has independent navigation, which is just independent action, but also does an arts buff. And another fun new passive, Contact with Civilization D, which means that Voyager has 10% passive bust removal resist at all times, which is really interesting. Mm-hmm. A very interesting foreigner who aligns very well with Quick while doing a lot of unique things. I like him a lot. He is my good space boy.
He is such a good space boy. I saw his lines. I'm dying. I'm fucking dying.
Yeah, he's great. One, amazing. First of all, now some people are like, because this is again something we've talked about. It's like when Gray came out for the Case Files collab before the anime came out, and it really gave away that she has Rongominiad. Mm-hmm. Technically, the second volume of the light novel isn't out. It wasn't locked in that Voyager was literally Voyager 1, so FGO was like, nah, brah. But there were still hints. The reason why he's a child is because he's literally the youngest heroic spirit. It's actually true.
Isn't it like 1960s or something?
Voyager 1 was launched in 1977 and is scheduled to run out of power right about now, while drifting outside our solar system.
But its journey will still continue.
Yes, so that's why he is a literal child who is a quick learner but doesn't understand lots of things and is adorable.
Like, honestly, like, the more I think about it, like, Voyager probably has, like, a decent amount of fucking mystery around it. It's literally out in the depths of space where no man has seen.
Well, yeah, and that's what his Nobbu Phantasm is. Little blue dot is the last picture that Voyager took of Earth, where Earth is literally a single blue pixel. It contains all, 6 billion lives or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's, by the way, what its effect is. Its effect is to remind everybody how small they are.
Yeah.
It's an anti-planet NP. It's crazy. Yeah, no. And again, it's like people asked, why does he have Blessings of the World's End? Well, he's left the solar system and is literally carrying a record of humans inside him. The golden record.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Voyager is a foreigner because, well, one, he's in space, but also because he is going to other places in space. And as you'll see later when we do the Nasuverse topic, it's really doubling down on the fact that Nasu really likes sci-fi.
Like, honestly, you can kind of, like, considering blessings of world ends, even if the world will end, like, this record will still remain of humanity. So, it's a crazy thing to think about. It really is.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's because Rongo is, like, connected to the tower and the Akashic records and whatever, so it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. It's kind of like a copy.
And hence why he has Voyager, which is kind of like Pioneer, but is like you're literally doing the impossible. You are traveling between stars.
Well, funny enough, there's also a satellite out there called Pioneer, so they're probably like,
There's some fun stuff. Well, I mean, we talked about stuff, and I was like, so Mars rovers totally count, right?
Honestly, I don't think Mars rovers, because, fun fact, the first Mars rover was called Sojourner, but it only went to Mars and sent, like, a lot of pictures and then died.
Yeah, so, but that's still, like, we still have a lot of affection for those things, and they've done some impossible stuff. So, hey, in the homebrew document, I literally statted Sojourner.
Yeah, well, I think I remember Sojourner was only supposed to last, like, 3 weeks, or, like, a week.
No, I believe its original mission was 7 days with an option for, I think, 3 weeks, but,
it lasted, like, 3 months.
Yeah, it lasted 85 days.
Yeah. Battle continuation. Hella.
Correct. I gave it A. I gave her A. I should say her, because, Sojourner was named after Sojourner Truth.
Yes.
By a contest. And honestly, this opens up a lot of really interesting, like, again, man-made heroic spirits of just, like, representing the stuff that we believe in, you know?
No. Well, sorry. I know you've already stated it up, but the Mars rover should totally be a fucking, like, Valkyrie of just several of all the rovers together.
Well, that could be a fun one, too. There were a lot. I think
there were 4.
The thing with Sojourner was they were the lead of the Pathfinder project.
Yeah.
I don't know, what's Voyager 2 doing right now?
I'm not sure. Actually, when was Pioneer launched? Because that's another satellite. Fuck,
there's a lot of fun ones. We've done a lot of, there's the Galileo probes and stuff, things we've done. You know, we've done a lot of space stuff that's very interesting.
Oh, actually, let's see, was it Pioneer?
Also, the reason why he has conversations about Orion, Chiron, and Jason is because they're constellations. They are also in space.
Oh, no, Chiron is because he was launched off I think, Chiron rocket, I think.
That too. There was I don't remember if it was Chiron or if it was Centaur, but yes, the rocket module also shares, but also he's in the star. Yeah. Same with,
Centaur, that's what it was.
Yes, same with Orion, with Jason, because the Argo is in the sky.
Also, I've seen fan art of fucking Voyager hanging out with those servants. It's adorable.
Yeah, well, that's because I believe with Jason, it's because Voyager is nothing but complimentary. He's like, dude, your ship is the coolest in the night sky, which Jason has to just go like, yeah, you're right, kid. Pat, pat. You know, because there's a lot of fun stuff going on in there. So Voyager, super fun. Definitely rolling in that, but also because of the other thing, we have a new SR Dino wife. Kijyo Koyo. The J is silent. Those are long. Now, I did do some background research because people in the Americas might not understand what she is from. But she is a character from the famous No play and now film later. And I say famous because it's literally one of the things the Japanese government has declared a piece of important cultural heritage. Momoji Gari. But do not call her Momoji, or she will burn you. So she is quick arts Buster. With fairly high HP for her class, but lowered attack. 3 hit counts all around again. Means she's got a higher NP gain because she's only got 1 arts card. Her NP is a pretty basic single target buster, which buffs her attacks for 3 turns first, but also burns her. Also, if you watch it, you will get to see all 3 of her forms. T-Rex, regular bride, and Oni bride. With sword. Her first skill is a special shapeshift dinosaur, which increases her defense for 3 turns, 20 to 30%, and is also a huge Berserker star weight buff. It's like Zerkalot, it's like Raikou, etc. So it's a big, chunky buff for 1 turn. Her second skill, though, is pretty unique. So here's what it does, Lucky.
Mm-hmm.
It does the basic thing. It gives her 20 to 30% buster and quick for 3 turns. Pretty normal. But then it gives a chosen ally +1 overcharge level for 3 turns, 1 time. Which I believe only only Edison's third skill does, and that might be after it's upgraded. And Edison is story locked, though Koyo is limited, but still. It's a new servant that does new interesting things. Yes, that is an important thing to mention. You should not refer to her as just Kijyo. That is a title. It's basically, there's a really interesting, fun etymology trick here.
Mm-hmm.
The title Kijyo is basically just like Onibaba, like a mountain witch. Only Onibaba is obviously an Oni granny, an old lady mountain witch. Whereas the Jo, which the J is silent, but the Jo in Kijyo is the same character as from like shoujo.
Mm-hmm.
So it basically is the same term for like a mountain witch, but a young woman. But it's a title. She is the Kijyo known as Koyo. It's a whole thingus. It's very interesting to learn about because obviously sorry guys, I'm not on my watched all my classic Japanese cultural cinema from like the 1920s or 30s. So this was like, I know that they referenced her because she's in Requiem in dinosaur form, which is why it's her first ascension. BT dubs, in case, excuse me, sorry, get a little burpy there. But in case you don't know, literally all of her first ascension lines are growls. But yeah, I did some research on this, and there's a lot of interesting stuff. So and she has a lot of interesting history that we won't super deep dive, but she has her own characterization and like backstory in her profile and stuff that covers it. So that was her second skill. Her final skill is actually a healing skill. It's a 1 to 2k team heal, removes 1 debuff, and makes the party immune to insta-kill for 3 turns. Pretty interesting, pretty fun. She has Madness Enhancement A and Magic Resistance C, which is unusual on Berserkers. I foresee she'll be popular for challenges because of her damage output and unique support abilities. A really decent single-target Berserker who stands out, right? Because she has the ability to support the squad, as opposed to, like, say, Herc, who is just like, no, I don't die. I live. I am live. But also, yes, first of all, she is definitely a bride. That is literally one of her ascension lines, is where she's like, being an Oni wife is not okay? Alright, I'll just be a regular bride then. And I believe her second ascension kimono is supposed to be like a wedding one. It only starts to get a little naughty in her third ascension. Because BT dubs, that's not how you're supposed to wear those kimonos. Just saying. The second one is very, very formal, but it's good that we have all 3 stages. You can pick your favorite. And the reason why a lot of people are like, but why is she a T-Rex though? 1, because it's cool. Shut up.
Yes,
2,
cool.
She explains this also. I assume it's because she is actually like an Oni or a supernatural force or something. But she has the dragon trait. And she's associated with a lot of fire and stuff. But she says that she saw the bones of a quote-unquote dragon king on her mountain and thought it was cool. So she found a dinosaur fossil and was like, this is pretty rad, I'm gonna be that. So yeah, that's another super popular. Love that her art's taken off. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before you go anywhere, Lucky, I do want to say, I think it's interesting because obviously her design was already out from the first volume of Requiem, but that was just the T-Rex. It's really interesting to see people, 1, embrace the T-Rex memes, but also immediately be like, okay, but also, she's real pretty.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm pretty sure if she was just straight up fucking dinosaur,
I mean, if
like,
she was literally a T-Rex in every ascension, yes, that would be like Lobo or red hair, right? That would be like, no, we'll get there.
No, it's all as I said, like no, this is still great. I have a dinosaur now. Nah, people will still would have like adored her, but now you can pick your fucking flavor. Yeah.
And then lastly, we have our mysterious new welfare, Erice Utsumi. I'm assuming that is the correct pronunciation. So when I wrote this yesterday, she wasn't actually playable. I believe people can get their first copy of her now, which means that I didn't write it down, but I do know that her NP gain is okay. It's alright. It's not bad. I think that was the only stat we were really missing. Her attack and HP are pretty robust. They're both on the higher end for Lancers. This is our 3rd welfare Lancer. Because there was Genta, who is okay. She's adorable, but she's okay. She's trying her best. And then last year, with the rerun just happening this year in JP, so that'll be next year, was Kagetora, who is single target arts, I believe. Audience, help me out. Despair, that's not helping me. I need the other information. Okay. Yes, she is. Kagetora is single target arts. So Erice is AoE arts. Quick arts buster deck. Solid hit counts. Her NP as advertised is an AoE arts witch. strips defensive buffs and has a low chance to instant kill. It's like 30%, but it's AoE, so. And she's also got some other stuff that'll enhance that. But in general, it looks like it's a pretty robust true damage attack. Fuck your buffs and also maybe you die. Her first skill gives her 20 to 30% arts for 3 turns, pretty standard buff, fairly standard steroid. It gives her 2 evades for 3 turns. So that's pretty interesting. Depending on where you get hit, you might evade multiple turns in a row. Her second skill gives her sure hit for 1 turn and gives her a decent star weight buff, but the kicker is that at level 10, its cooldown is only 4 turns. So that means every 4 turns you can get a big star absorb buff and, well, a decent star absorb buff. It's not like Berserker crazy, but I think it's like 500 or 600% at the top, with Lancers already being smack in the middle of star weight. And then sure hit pretty regularly, so that's fun. And then her final skill is her signature Grim Reaper. This boosts her chance to inflict instant kill for 3 turns. I didn't add the percent because I'm not sure what that actually means. I don't know if that's literally like plus like 30% to her instant kill chance, so it's 60 or what. Instant kill is calculated really weird, guys. It's like multiplied by stuff and things. But other than that, it also gives her a 20 to 30% crit buff for 3 turns and a 20 to 30% bonus versus servants for 3 turns. So a lot of little damage stacks there. She has magic resistance B, but it's magic resistance spirits, which gives her extra debuff resist versus undead. I don't know where that's going to come in, but I guess if you want to tell ghost stuns to fuck off. She has writing C+, independent action B, and divinity E. In general, it seems like Erice is going to be a good welfare unit. She can probably spam her NP because she can do NPAA and has art steroids and stuff, and crit steroids. And if she gets lucky, she can instant kill weak mobs, and otherwise does very, very consistent damage with her removing defensive buffs, with her sure hit, and with doing arts and crit damage. And especially she will be excellent against servant bosses, which are often some of the most tricky. And then, of course, there's lots of the fun stuff. So bits of her profile is translated, and I know, Lucky, you have thoughts and feelings about stuff, and I'll let you get to some of that stuff because you did some of that research. But the gist of, like, it's still ambiguous in her profile. I think that's what they're going for, is they don't want to say anything, but it's very interesting because I think the reason why she has special abilities and has Divinity E is because, according to her profile, she is, like, possessed by a ghost of something. She is, like, got an evil spirit in her, which lets her do her Grim Reaper stuff. Who might that be? Who knows? If Lucky wants to take away on his thoughts on Erice, he can go for it. My nose is itchy.
Alright. So, when I saw Erice's design, specifically her Nobbu Phantasm, there was one thing that jumped out fucking immediately. And that was the legend of Japan's creation myth with its founding gods, Izanami and Izanagi. Because specifically in the legend, they take a spear, which is known as the Heavenly Decorated Spear. I'm not actually going to say the Japanese name because I'm going to fucking butcher it. Yeah, it's
actually more K's in there.
Yeah, it's like Ame no ha 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 or something. And they basically stir the seas with said spear, and when they take out the spear, the fucking salty drops that fall from the spear's point lands in the seas and creates islands. If you realize it, this is something that's really, really akin to Erice's Nobbu Phantasm.
Yeah, and I believe it when describing her spear, it's like it's a thing from somebody connected to maybe the sea, the dead. We don't know.
Now, so also Erice's style of dress, very, very old, very old. So
yeah, very classical.
So my first thought is that she's channeling some big Izanami energy, which, when people are thinking about Grim Reaper stuff and, evil spirits, Izanami can actually qualify. Because in another legend, once Izanami died, Izanagi went down to the underworld to visit her and wanted her back. Izanami was like, no, I'm already dead, I ate the fruit, I can't go, no. But Izanagi's like, no, my wife, I love you, come with me. And Izanami was just like, okay, fine, let me go ask, just wait here and don't look at me. Izanami was dumb, and he decided to look, and saw that she was a goddamn zombie. He was all like, no!
Yeah, he's like, hey, my wife, I want to come hang out with you. Man, it's real dark down here in the underworld. And she's like, don't light any lights. It's cool. And he's like, okay, but I'm going to light a tiny light. And
No! So Izanagi fled, and Izanami, pissed, that all this love that her husband was professor was just gone based upon the looks, was just like, well, to be fair, she was apparently like decayed flesh and maggot infested. Still. Fled after her, and Izanagi literally sealed this entrance to an underworld with a boulder, and Izanami's on the other side. If you don't fucking stop this shit right now, I'm gonna kill 1,000 people a day. And Izanagi was all like, well, fuck you, I'll just bring 1,500 each to life.
Yeah, so, I shall create 1,500 humans a day then.
Yeah. So, Izanami, as I said, has like connections to the spear, to the underworld ghost, and has, vengeful spirit qualities. So, even if she's not like, full on channeling Izanami, the spear and, the possession thing, it's big Izanami energy. Big Izanami energy.
Yeah, so, and again, the phrase is Grim Reaper, but also it's like, because I've seen it translated as God of Death, it's Shinigami. Which, the concept of Shinigami is very much that's the Japanese-ism on the, well, it means God of Death, it's a Japanese-ism on the Western concept of a Grim Reaper, because they didn't really, I don't think Japan had a lot of really good psychopomp kind of mythology before we introduced that concept to them. There's a lot to do with wandering spirits and ghosts, but not necessarily the idea that somebody's out there policing up these darned ghosts.
Yeah. So, that was interesting. So, as I'm waiting for full translations on that, because if it's not big Izanami energy, I'm going to be hella shook. So, actually, I'm going to go on a side tangent before we get into Gudaguda 3, because in my research, I found out something fucking crazy. Maggie, you were there for that when I talked about it?
Yeah, I was there when you started explaining. Both on stream and also in chat.
Okay, so the Ameno was basically only really relevant in the creation myth. After they used it, they literally tossed it on a fucking mountain where it just stayed fucking there. Not a lot happened. As I said, apparently through history, like the name might have got changed or whatnot and stuff. But here's the fucking kill.
Also, that happens a lot with Japanese. Is just you get alternate readings of characters and stuff.
Now, fucking fast forward to the Meiji Restoration, where motherfucking Sakamoto Ryoma, apparently in his youth, in real life, there was actually a letter of him doing this, goes up to the mountain and pulls out this fucking spear. Apparently he pulled it out and kept it, and it's actually on display somewhere, but it's not the actual display because apparently the original one got destroyed in a volcano or something.
It happens a lot.
It happens a lot. So, now get this. You go to Ryoma Sakamoto's profile in FGO, and he mentions pulling out, when he met his wife, he mentions pulling a spear out of her. So, was fucking Oreo literally pinned to the mountain by the heavenly spear of Japan's creation?
It sounds like it.
It's like,
honestly, that's gotta be, I'd love to talk to Oreo-san about that and be like, hey, what'd you do to make Izanagi and Izanami mad? Or were you just like a regular animal that happened to get stuck under the spear and got stuck there for 10,000 years or whatever?
Yeah.
Because that's another common Eastern mythology thing, is if you let an animal just live long enough, it gets super smart. Carp turn into dragons and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, like, Despair actually pulled it. His partner Oreo was not that historical figure, but something that was sealed and bound to a certain mountain. In his youthful indiscretion, Roma pulled out the spear that bound her and released her unto the world. So I'm pretty sure that's, I can't remember the fucking name of the mountain that, the spear was carrying, but I'm pretty sure it's that mountain, and it's that spear.
Yes, the thing about, I believe that Erice's NP uses the same phrase as the same spelling as the spear that was pulled out by Ryoma. And that is one of the potential alternate spellings of the... Wait, hold on.
Heavenly Decorated Spear. Like, that's what I'm just calling it right now.
No, Hoko. I think I might have goofed up a vowel in there. There's a lot of repeating N's.
Mm-hmm. So, like, again, weird-ass connections across, so I'm really hoping that Ryoma or Erice has a fucking dialogue for,
nobody's posted Erice's dialogue yet, so we'll see.
Yeah. So, again,
it definitely does sound like somebody's going on a spooky skeleton ride with Erice.
Mm-hmm. I was like, again, like, even if I don't know what's actually happening in an event, I love seeing new servant details, because I'm all like, alright, it's time to get my history boner on.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
And we shall see more as it happens. But that's the new servants. They do stuff. We are now at 2 hours into the audio. But it is time for the next big step. The Gudaguda 3 pregame. Speaking of Ryoma.
Yeah!
Alright. Omega's going to talk for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
So, The upcoming Gudaguda event is called Mystery of the Imperial Capital's Holy Grail. It will be a mission event, but with some twists. We'll talk about those later. It requires Solomon to clear. So you have to have cleared Solomon to get in there, so it's not easy moto. This is not just be Fuyuki. You gotta be serious about this, okay? And if you're not up to Solomon, time to catch up.
Get there.
So basically, when you do story and free quests, you will see exclamation points on the map. Yes, it has an actual map. Actually, it has 2 maps. We'll explain that more later. But basically, you hit the exclamation point, it links to a territory control quest. You complete this quest and do a follow-up free quest to take control of the territory, which advances the story and is needed for your missions. As you conquer territory, this will then open up so you can conquer new territories adjacent to the new one you've conquered. Pretty basic map stuff. You know, it's like Risk, but with free quests. So, the story will have 14 main story sections, including a prologue and epilogue. A lot of them don't have battles. I think about half of them don't. They're just dialogue.
Okay.
Which is fun. After completing these, you will get Sakamoto Ryoma permanently and some CEs. Note, I don't say the Holy Grail yet. We'll get there. Your primary support for this will be Okita Alter with occasional cameos from the other Gudaguda types. While he is not a support unit, you will also get temporary Ryoma early in the story, like in Chapter 2 or something.
Okay.
Gonna warn you kids. Story fights involve a lot of break bars on Archer, Lancer, Assassin, and Saber bosses, with the big boss, who shows up a couple of times, being a caster. Expect them to have 2 to 3 KHP per bar and various fun buffs and break effects. So the game probably wants you to use Ryoma, because he's a rider and gets plus 100% damage bonus. I'm just speculating or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Or alternatively, you could use Okita Alter, who also has a plus 100% damage bonus. Spoilers. So then here's the fun stuff. There's basically a part 2 story, which is weirder and has more of the usual Gudaguda stuff. Like, I believe the actual front half of the story is supposed to be more serious, as evidenced by the CM, which we will hopefully have in English soon. But it's supposed to be... It's kind of like what they're doing with the Fate Redline manga we'll talk about later, which is playing up the more serious parts of the Koei story, which this is... That's the thing about Imperial Capital Holy Grail. It's literally referencing the actual story arc of Gudaguda and Koha Ace.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting stuff. I'll be glad to read it. But basically, I don't know if this is just when you complete the main story, or you have to like wait a week or something. Maybe somebody in the chat can help me out. But there's basically going to be what's called the reverse map, the reverse side map, which will have a new story and free quests. The story quests are basically all just single wave boss fights of various classes, of which there are 9. You'll be able to see what they are ahead of time and plan. The big one is the last one is versus an Avenger boss. That nets you your Holy Grail. Yeah, part 1 is very serious. Robin is saying you've already done Omega Explains. Oh, no. Oh, my, no.
We're not even close.
No, we gotta work through the pregame. Not crazy hard, but we will get there. But yeah, part 2 is where the funny stuff happens. You fight a lot of weird Nobus. I think literally every boss has a Nobbu, which is like them. Great. Which is funny. Oh, right. Is this where Nobbu Phantasms come in? They have like funny Nobbu Phantasm lines. Anyway. That's the big one, is an Avenger boss. Charge your BBs. Be ready. Plug her in. She's a computer. And if you want to take that some weird way, feel free. I'm not here to get in there with your weird, what you do in your time with your BB is your own business, okay? So, Lucky, you'll be glad to hear. Free quests are either all monoclass or 1 class plus berserkers.
Blessed.
Yeah, and we have a pretty diverse bonus servant list. We'll cover that in a little bit. But yeah, so doing free quests shouldn't be too hard. The only thing to keep an eye on is the fact that the bosses can get a little chunky, upwards of 200 KHP, so watch out for that bonus damage. You will want it. Now, here's one of the big kickers. There is, of course, a challenge quest for an extra lore. It involves a Nobbu, who has 4 health bars, which are increasing in size. They get chunkier every time. No. Oh, and also, while her initial class is Archer, like normal, she will rotate through Assassin, Rider, and Caster as you break her bars.
Caster? Huh.
Yeah. They're called something, I think Rider is like Assassin is Shinobi form, Rider is armored form. I don't know if her sprite actually changes, but her class does. I don't remember what Caster's called. She also has a bit of a defense buff through these moments, which gets lowered as you go on, and some other tricks in there. That should be really interesting. You'll probably want to find a Berserkers or something who can smash. I don't think she has any ads or anything. It's just a big old beefy challenge quest. Sounds fun. I'll be interested to try it. So, like I said, this is a mission event, so that means you're gonna do stuff like fight so many blah 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 servants, fight so many nodes north of a location, for instance, stuff like that. The usuals, do so many quests, do certain quests, etc. It's the full 100 mission list, so you'll probably need a guide to break them all down. We'd be here forever if I tried to list them all out. But completing the missions will net you your extra Ryoma copies and his Ascension materials, or theirs technically, because Orio's along for the ride. It will net you a lore, 4 summon tickets, which I feel is a little... There's no sync quartz in this event, there's only 4 summon tickets. I'm not sure how I feel about this. But there will be mana prisms, QP, gold foes, CE XPs, skill gems, and mats such as chains, fangs, lanterns, seeds, magatama, divine wine, serpent jewel, scarabs, grease, dust, pages, horns, and claws. In pops of 5. Some of them multiple pops. So it's going to be fun stuff in that mission ladder. From the shop, BTW, the currency is all frog themed. You can get your usual regular EXPs and foes. You can get more mana prisms. You can get Saber Lancer assassin statues, if you care about such things. You can get bones, babies, gunpowder, horseshoes, bloodstones, crystals, claws, gallstones, and permafrost. Loving that gunpowder and permafrost there. The store also has 4 copies of the special bonus CE Sailor in White. That's right, the super awesome Medusa CE is a store CE this time. It has 4 copies, which ups the spawns of enemies. Like 25% per or 20% per. The 5th copy is in the mission ladder. You do not need a drop, though you can get a drop if you get it early. Super fun. Okay, so your bonus servants. These are the ones you should check out. Naturally, some of the new ones are 100%, that's Ryoma and Okita Alter, or plus 100% damage. Izo, Okita, Hijikata, Nobu, Chacha, and Li Shuwen are plus 80%. Very robust numbers, especially considering that Chacha is a welfare berserker. And then Emiya, Medusa, Medea, MHX, and MHXA are plus 50%. So that's another fun one if you have those units. Got a pretty decent class coverage, and, a Cha-Cha will cover a multitude of sins, and you should have one because they just did the rerun if you didn't even have the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Solid stuff. So, naturally, this event... Alright, itch my nose still. This event has a banner. The raid up is on new 5-star alter ego, Okita Alter. You will also get Emiya and Li Shuwen on this banner, and Medea Medusa, and a new limited 3-star Okada Izo in the event. Also event CEs. As expected, the CEs naturally increase the appropriate currency drops, just like you'd expect. Mm-hmm. Pretty simple stuff. Honestly, it's not a big long pregame. It should be pretty straightforward once you actually get into it. You just have to beat up territories, do free quests, unlock story, do story, keep going. The only thing, like I said, is I don't know when the Part 2 part activates, whether it's right away, like, say, with Kara no Kyokai, which we had a rerun earlier this year, which did a similar thing, where the funny stuff happens in the second half. I don't know if that opens up right away, or if you do certain missions or what, but just keep an eye out, do your missions, you'll get it, fine. And it looks to be pretty entertaining. I'm very interested to read this and see what's up. And Ryoma will be cool, even though I don't need another writer. Still, super fun. Peace.
Excited.
Yeah, so that'll be great to see, get all the CEs and stuff. Alright, I believe we will take another intermission, because we are at the over 2-hour mark before we do the big kicker, which we don't have to do, but we're gonna do. It happens. Alright. Okay, we're going. Lucky's just gonna strap in for this one.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Because it's time for Teach Me Omega Sensei.
God,
I am Omega Sensei. I will teach you. So, this is voted every month by our patrons. At the 5 and up level, you can vote in this poll. We run this poll all the time. After this one is done, we will only have what is Magecraft / Thaumaturgy and what is a Divine Spirit left. Though we're always open to suggestions if you have some. But the one they voted on what is the Nasuverse, and I explained this topic on the show as basically a list of what entries are actually in the Nasuverse, continuity and whatnot. What are actually related, what are in Fate, what are related to Fate and stuff, to kind of break that down, because a lot of people don't know or forget what's actually counted as part of Nasu's series and, interrelated works and stuff. And also when these things were published, or when these things were not published, as some of the things go on. So it's kind of interesting to see this breakdown, block by block, cover everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, the rough outline is, Nasuverse is the collective term just for the work set in the shared universe related to Type Moon and Kinoku Nasu. He didn't necessarily write all of them, but they're connected. They have all the shared elements of Magecraft and mages, the clock tower and all that, the counterforce, the root, etc., and lots of shared themes. But, as a sub-bullet point, Nasu and friends also like alternate or branching timelines, so they're all not necessarily in The exact same continuity, just similar universe mechanics and stuff. So, we'll tackle this in roughly real-life chronological order, because actually unpacking the actual timeline would be confusing as fuck. So, the beginning. We have Kara no Kyokai, one of the earliest works. Technically not even under Type Moon. This was originally published as a web novel in 1998, written by Nasu and illustrated by Takeuchi. It was physically published as a light novel series in 2004. It follows the story of Yogishiki and her mystic eyes, dealing with various mystery, murder, origins and stuff, and the roots. Has a lot of recurring elements and characters who will come back, sets a lot of character designs and archetypes. A lot of character designs, for instance, are basically modified or reused for later works like Tsukihime and Fate, Stay Night, stuff like that. It shows off the kind of characters that Nasu likes, the kind of stories, and softly establishes a lot of the concepts that come up. Talking about various things. You should watch the anime movies. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a recurring theme in this Teach Me Mega Sensei. So what were you saying, Lucky?
If I remember, one of the big influences for Kuroko no Kyokai from Nasu was actually the Boogie Pop series, I think. It has a lot of the same themes and whatnot.
Possible.
Possible.
Nasu has a lot of influences, which can be very obvious.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name. Makai Tensho? There's a novel and movie concept that's basically Fate and was very, very much lifted for the way that Shibosa works, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
So, inspirations are pretty obvious. So, next up, we have Notes, sometimes called Angel Notes. A short novel, written by Nasu, published in an anthology themed around angels in 1999. It deals with an Earth in the far future which is devastated by pollution and war, and uninhabitable to everybody but modified humans and their creators, or creations. It introduces the concept of ultimate ones or types to the story, and serves to remind you that Nasu really loves science fiction.
Gun God,
Adam Edo, the Slash Emperor, all kinds of stuff is introduced here and is constantly referred back. Mm-hmm. But I'm pretty sure you can't find this anywhere in English because it was a short story in an anthology. Thanks, guys.
Mm-hmm.
But it establishes a lot of concepts, and Kara no Kyokai is pretty firmly an urban fantasy story. Notes lets him flex a lot of his sci-fi, science fantasy muscles.
Mm-hmm.
So here's going to be a big one for the audience at home. The first actual Type Moon production is Tsukihime, Moon Princess, in 2000. It is a visual novel centered around Shiki Tono, who also has mystic eyes, dealing with magic, demons, vampires, the church, family, other stuff. Many concepts are established in here, including Nasu's batshit crazy ideas of what the fuck vampires are. I refuse. No. It was split into two sections, basically. You got Near Side and Far Side, which have different heroines you can pursue, because it was also an erotic novel. This builds on concepts from Kara no Kyokai and Notes, while also building new lore in the Type Moon universe, and introduces some similar concepts and naming themes. You'll see stuff like Near Side, Far Side referenced. It has their strange obsession with the moon. I'm not sure if that's just a brand thing or what. But it introduces a lot of characters and concepts that will be recurring, and is a thing people know them for. It's a big deal. You should not watch the anime adaptation. It is bad, and people like to pretend it never happened.
Don't worry, apparently there has been a Tsukihime remake in the works forever, and will get here eventually, one day.
They are. Type Moon is supposedly in beta testing of a Tsukihime remake. In the year 2001, Tsukihime got a fan-disc sequel, Kagetsu Toya. So fan-disc is a thing that I think is more common with some Japanese games, especially like visual novels and stuff. It's not meant to be canon per se, but offers follow-up stories, scenes, bonus content, which basically is like, thanks for fans for buying the original work, right? Like, you bought a lot of copies of our original game, we'll release a fan-disc sequel for you, the fans. That's not necessarily meant to be canon, but it's a thing that occasionally Type Moon will do, and it has furthermore concepts and plots that are introduced, which may be referenced later. Now, in 2003, Tsukihime got another sequel, the first fighting game, Melty Blood. It is somewhat based on the cancelled Satsuki route, because, man, there's a lot of cancelled characters and roots in Type Moon's background.
Yeah, there is.
It introduces the character of Shion, or however the heck, as a character. They will become relevant to us later, but she's been in the pedigree for a while, obviously. And then they had Melty Blood React, came out in 04 after Fate Stay Night as an expansion, includes some new characters and fixes, but not really new content otherwise. And then in 05, there was Melty Blood Act Cadenza, which was a port of React to arcade machines and later other platforms, which has some new content and characters and mechanics, but is still fundamentally the same story. So I lumped them all in as one bullet point. This begins the trend that Type Moon likes fighting games. You will see this many times. What's next? 2004, the big one for us. Fate Stay Night was published. It's another branching erotic visual novel. Has the classic Fate, Unlimited Bladeworks, and Heaven's Feel roots, each focused on a different heroine and themes. Fate Stay Night steps back a bit from mystic eyes, vampires, and aliens to focus more on magic, myths, and legends. Bless you. And the servant concept, which it establishes. It establishes a lot of the ground rules for many spin-offs, which are specifically coded as Fate/something. They had a whole nomenclature about it. Yes, and it establishes many ground rules which are immediately broken. Because Nasu. But yeah, this establishes the throne, servants, heroic spirits, a lot of concepts which are kind of bandied around but aren't really spelled out until this one. Luckily, there's an anime adaptation of each route. You should probably watch at least one of them. Though I will warn everybody, Heaven's Feel isn't done yet. Because, no, COVID. The release has been delayed. But yes, there is an anime adaptation of every route. You should watch at least one, probably, at some point. If you can't read the whole thing, it's very long. There was also a safer work port in the form of Real to Anua, which was released in 2007 and ported to mobile in 2015. Please release in America, Aniplex.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Yeah, and the model, by the way, is that the Fate scenario is free, and then you have to pay like $10 for Unlimited Bladeworks and Heaven's Feel. So, yeah, please release. It's existed for a long time. And I call it safer work because it removes all the erotic scenes and replaces them with other fun scenes. In the 2005, FSN got its own Fandisc sequel, Fate Hollow Ataraxia, which you may have heard of. It introduces us to characters like Karen and Bazette for the first time. It gave Angra his normal dude design. It gave Stheno and Urali their designs, and involves many jokes and shenanigans which will continue to be relevant. This is where Kaleidostick Ruby and Magical Girl Rin come from. Many other references and characters kind of come together in this. So, kind of important. In 2006, they started publishing Fate School Life, which is a comedy for coma about background characters in Fate Stay Night and Hollow Ataraxia. I believe it's still ongoing. This is important because, at least at one point, and possibly at multiple points, they've held a fan servant design contest, with quite a few designs that were submitted became characters later, either indirectly, or when it had an FGO crossover OVA in 2017, which we still haven't seen. Probably because nobody will understand what the fuck it is.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've seen, like, Plato, that was a fan submission. There's a version of Sherlock Holmes, which is a fan submission, which looks a lot like his actual version, only his face is hidden by his hat, but still. It's got the weird arm things and magnifying glass in the pipe. It's a very big list, and it's very interesting because there are a lot of servants who either were or at least tangentially were used based off this. Very interesting to see. So, Fate Stay Night's prequel, Fate Zero, was first published in light novel form in 2006. It covers the events of the previous Holy Grail War, sets up a lot of characters and concepts, explains backstories, and has even more iconic servant designs. This was the first real Fate spin-off that we got, was the prequel, so it makes sense. Mm-hmm. It has an anime that you should probably watch sometime. A lot of people's first Fate anime, because the original Fate Stay Night one was a little old, and the quality's not the super greatest, but it exists. Mm-hmm. So, and now here's a fun one. Fate's Collide Liner Prisma Star Ilia, the star is in there, is a manga that started publishing in 2007. I believe it's monthly, so that kind of makes sense, but still.
You've been going a while.
It is our first major Fate spinoff, which isn't a sequel or prequel or just for jokes. Like, obviously there's some parody elements, but also it's more serious. It involves Ilia as an actual small child who becomes a magical girl and deals with various Fate-linked problems and characters. It starts pretty light, but ultimately gets into some dark and spooky and serious territory as any other Fate works. Though obviously there's that magical girl sheen on it. This is probably, I think, the first time Luvia is a major character. She appears in other designs in other places, but this is, I think, the first time she actually is a recurring character. Yeah, you posted the thing?
Yeah, I posted the thing.
But yeah, that's that with that referencing. Prisma has several anime adaptations, of which there are more. I believe we've confirmed there's going to be a second movie film. You don't have to watch them if you don't want to, but you could.
You could.
So, also in 2007, there's the PSP fighting game Fate Tiger Coliseum, which had a sequel game in the form of Tiger Coliseum Upper. It doesn't really add anything to the universe other than it reminds you and me that Type Moon really likes fighting games, and also introduced Saber Lion as character. That is, Saber dressed in a lion costume. Speaking of Type Moon liking fighting games, in 2008, Fate Unlimited Codes was released for arcades and the PS2 in 2008. I think I accidentally wrote the date twice there. But it was ported to PSP in 2009 and actually was released in the West. But sadly, the license has expired and you cannot get it on PSN anymore. This was a collab with Capcom. It did, however, introduce Saber Lily as an alt costume. If we could get some licensing hashed out and re-release that one. Anybody? Capcom, I know you're all about re-releasing old games.
Do it.
So, in 2009, Melty Blood got a real sequel, Melty Blood Actress Again, that's actually set after the first game. It continues the plotline and introduces new characters. I believe that's the latest entry of Melty Blood. So, here's another big one. That's right, we're going 6 years later. In 2010, Fate Extra was released for the PSP. This is an RPG game. You could pick your playable servant between Saber, Nero, Archer Emiya, Nameless called there, and Caster Tamamo. And it's set in the 2030s. We've done a whole episode about what's up with Extra Timeline and the Moon Cell, but we won't super break it down. But basically, this is where Nasu's sci-fi and fantasy boner come together. It introduces a lot more weird moon stuff to Fate, and kind of involves some newer characters and some other stuff going on, and does a lot of interesting things that stand alone. It kind of, sort of, maybe has an anime adaptation in Last Encore, which was released in 2018, which you could maybe watch, kinda. Maybe. It's very pretty, but very confusing.
Well, it's not. As I said, it's not directly extra, so it's literally supposed to be.
It's not a exact retelling of Extra. It does weird things on its own. This goes back to reference something I said, I believe, in the first hour about Nasu not necessarily liking to retread the same ground. Also, speaking of moon stuff, in the year 2010, Nasu published a short story called Tsuki no Sango, Coral of the Moon. It is set in the year 3000, and it's its own timeline, but has similarities to Notes, but also involves moon stuff. But not Tsukihime or Fate Extra moon stuff. New moon stuff. We like moon stuff.
It is called Type Moon.
Yeah. They did iconically name their well, it's because Tsukihime was their first, but they did iconically name their major print. Technically, I believe their actual publishing name is Notes, taken from Nasu's short story, but their branding is Type Moon. So, they like moon. Big moon. So, here's another very important entry. In the year of our Lord and Savior Nasu, 2011, the parody anime Carnival Phantasm was released. It has many jokes and references to previous Type Moon works, which are repeated all the time. Granny Bike, Enterloop, Grailkun, many things. Need that sequel, maybe in 2021.
Yeah.
Also, alongside the last bit of Carnival Phantasm in 2011, there was released a 12-minute anime short based on Fate Prototype, which was the original version of the Fate story before it became Fate Stay Night. It was set in Tokyo instead of Fuyuki City. It generally has less masquerade mystery elements. People are just fucking shit up in Tokyo. Like in the animation tests, Prototype Gil unleashes his noble phantasm, which is the Flood. That Flood from Babylonian mythology, just in downtown Tokyo, for funs. But it introduces us to Ayaka Saijo, I guess, pronunciation. Introduces us to Arthur and some of the other prototype designs for servants, stuff that wasn't actually published before but existed. That is also, by the way, literally the only actual prototype we've gotten ever was a 12-minute anime short. In 2012, Type Moon released a new visual novel, Mahosukai no Yoru, centered around a Tsukihime character, Aoko Aozaki, and her friends, and also a little bit of her sister, Toko, who was in Kara no Kyokai. It is based on a much, much older draft that Nasu had all the way back in 1998. I think this was his, college novel draft that he was working on. It deals primarily with mages and magecraft in the Nasuverse and stuff, and is set during the 80s. So it's kind of a pregame to some stuff that happens in Tsukihime and Kara no Kyokai and etc. Also, because it's just a visual novel not released officially in the West. Thanks, guys. It was an all-ages visual novel, BT dubs. Also in 2012, they started releasing the Fate Apocrypha light novels. This used the concept for the Fate MMO, which would later become FGO, So Apocrypha is an alternate timeline to Fate Stay Night, has the Great Holy Grail War. It involves 2 teams, and has quite a few references and nods to prior Fate works. This introduces us to the ruler class and a lot more Grail lore, and sets up more servant stuff. More characters and kind of through lines are introduced. And as an anime, you might want to watch because it is very pretty.
Very pretty.
So, this one I had to actually do some hoops to track down. But 2012 is also the year when the Koha Ace parody comic started publishing in Comtique magazine. The parody is still ongoing, but it's been through several story arcs. This is important, because in addition to being the source of some jokes and original character designs, it also had a story arc which was called Fate/Koha Ace, which is the basis for Imperial Capital Holy Grail War, aka Gudaguda 3. Fun facts. Also, technically, it's responsible for our most recent Fate entry, the manga Fate Type Redline, which is an adaptation of the Fate Koha Ace storyline with new elements, which started publishing in 2019. But that's technically an adaptation, so it doesn't get its own bullet point in the future. I'm going to take a drink of water.
Hydrate.
It's very important. So, we are now in 2013, with the sequel, integral, Gaiden, whatever the fuck to Extra, Fate Extra CCC, for the PS Vita. We did a whole episode on it, so I'm not going to break it down super deep, but it introduces us to Kiara, BB, the Sakura 5, alter egos, and many, many other concepts in the Extra timeline, and the greater Fate universe and stuff. Further servants who are important. It also completes the Tsukihime reference, because CCC is the far side to Extra's near side. Because Moon. Also, yes, if you're wondering, I do believe that means that depending on the publishing of the light novels, it does mean that both Karnas were in development at the same time, and both Vlads. Actually, I don't know. There was regular Vlad might have been the original Extra in 10. But basically, this means that probably the development of the video game and the light novels for Apocrypha were similar, so that's probably why Karna cropped up in both. He is a man. So, also, in 2013, we started publishing the Fate Prototype Fragments of Sky Silver light novel. This is basically Fate Zero for Prototype. It sets up the previous Tokyo Holy Grail War, establishes the backstory for Fate Prototype, deals with various characters who show up in their other stories or in FGO, and also has the Beast of 666, who is referenced in Arthur's Trial Quest and stuff, and is probably one of those beasts. Also in 2013, another big one, CCC Foxtail. A manga adaptation of CCC, but it also uses a lot of cut characters and concepts from CCC, so it's kind of going its own direction. It introduces us to Suzuka, who was originally cut from CCC, the rest of the Sakura 5 who didn't show up in game, and seems to get in a lot of stuff which didn't come out clearly in CCC's final product. It is still ongoing. I believe it must also be monthly. A lot of slow rolling on this mangas. Okay. Chat, you still following me down there? People have gotten a lot quieter since we got to this section. Mm-hmm. So, in 2014, don't get confused, Nasu published a short story called Clock Tower 2015, which featured a mage named Mr. Floros. It was later revealed to be tied to FGO. This was basically, I think, just his soft hint at FGO stuff, because it was a year before, so obviously it would have been in dev. Also in 2014, there was a PS Vita port of Hollow Ataraxia, which also included a mini-game, Capsule Servant. It features elementary age Shiro and Rin doing Capsule Servant things. It was released for mobile in 2019. English release, please.
You know you're gonna want some Tokusuka.
There's a lot of interesting stuff, and also it seems cute and fun. Please do.
Yep.
Further, also in 2014, you'll start to notice as we get further into the years, we're releasing more and more shit every year. It was a 4-year turnaround between Tsukihime and Fate Stay Night, and now we're up to multiple releases in a year. That's what happens when you start getting the fuck you money, or at least the fuck you popularity. Because in 2014 was also when the El Meloy Case Files light novel started publishing, featuring Waver as El Meloy 2 after Fate Zero. A cast of many familiar characters in the timeline leading up to Fate Stay Night also delves into other bits of lore with Magecraft and other stuff, like the first arc in the light novels is about angels, which isn't really covered much. And it sets up a lot of alternate characters because of timelines and stuff. It has a partial anime adaptation later, which you should watch, so you can get your mystery on. Sequel series, please.
Also, I do want to note that the anime does have original content to it, so be careful.
Yeah, the anime has original stories. It's weird. They wanted to do one specific light novel arc, but they didn't want to do the rest of the shit, so they needed half the season to set up the characters and the rules, and then actually do the story arc. It's weird. Yeah. I don't know why they didn't go just whole hog. Maybe they'll do them as, like, OVAs or movies or something later.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it happened. It's fun. It's a fun one. It'll get a co-elevator. In 2015, Fate Strange Fake started publishing. It was hinted at by an earlier April Fool's joke, but is now an ongoing light novel and manga series. It involves a weird grail war that does stuff literally fake and real, or true, all that stuff. A lot of commentary about that. It has major appearances for Gilgamesh and Enkidu. This was, I think, Enkidu's first quote-unquote on-screen appearance.
I believe so.
And has further lore and follow up from the timeline of Fate Stay Nightward. It also features case files supporting character Flat, a fun lad Flat, and does many, many things, but it is a light novel series that is still ongoing. I should actually note that about Apocrypha is obviously over, Prototype Fragments is over, Elmo Case Files is over, String Fake is not over, still happening, still going on. Furthermore, in 2015, Nasu released a short story called Garden of Avalon for Unlimited Bladeworks Blu-ray release. Unlimited Blueworks. Jeez me. It's about a couple of different topics in the Arthurian time. It sets up some characters and some stuff we might see later. Also, this may be responsible for the original design of Morgan, which was completely changed in the anime of Apocrypha. I wonder why. Probably because we got an artist in there. Yes, the basically, if there's a light novel, none of those are localized, so please translate and publish. Localize!
Localize!
Next up, in 2015 still, is when the light novel series Fate Labyrinth was released. This is basically kind of a side story to Prototype Fragments. It features character from Prototype Monica Saggio, who is Ayaka's sister, doing some time-space stuff in a labyrinth. It has some characters from Fate Stay Night and Extra coming to explore the labyrinth, and also has Gray from Case Files in it. It seems neat. And of course, Fate Grand Order mobile game launched in 2015 in JP. It should require no explanation, as the name of the game is the title of the show. You should know what it is. If you don't, you should check it out. We're at like 10 million downloads and growing. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
It has several anime and manga adaptations, which maybe you should view. There was also the Learning With manga adaptation, which started as a vague fact help comic and is now basically its own parody comic with its own continuity and servants. Like Bunyan. Fun stuff. There's also the Fate Grand Order Arcade, which is kind of a port. It was first released in 2018. It's not really standalone, because it's got all the same story and stuff, but it also releases events in different order, and it has its own gameplay and graphics. Would like a console port, please.
I mean, it has a couple of its own unique servants, too. Where's my Santa Helena? Give.
That's true. They did their own version of Da Vinci Small, and they did a Santa Helena for this event. So they've done some different stuff, but it's, like I said, it's not truly standalone. Yeah. Now, the single most important entry on today's list. Today's menu with Emiya Family started as a manga in 2016. It is a slice-of-life cooking series with a Fate Stay Night cast. It has an anime you must watch. Not you should watch. You must watch.
I don't think you put it on the list, but it is supposed to be coming out with a Switch game eventually.
Yeah, I think that's delayed. I didn't actually include that, but there's a Switch game adaptation or something that we'll get to, which hopefully will localized.
Give.
Probably.
I mean, I got the first three manga here in English. I'm pretty sure they're bringing it.
Yeah. Mangas seem like they're much more common to get translated over.
Yeah.
Like some of the FGO mangas have been translated and stuff. Anyway, next up, Fate Extella, a Muso-type game. That's literally the genre we call those games, by the way. They're called Muso games. It's set in the Extra universe. It came out in 2016. It was intended to come out at the same time as FGO, because it showcased Altera and some other concepts, which are not, like, FGO doesn't really deep dive into Altera, because I'm pretty sure they were going to deep dive into Altera and Extella, but Extella got delayed. But it features some classic throwbacks. There's multiple story routes and heroines. It has big hack-and-slash gameplay. And it is kind of a sequel to Extra. It's got its own timeline that Nasu explained in like a blog post or something. Not included in the timeline, Nasu's many blog posts. That would take too long. But Nasu likes to explain shit in blog posts. Or magazine interviews. I don't know. I mean, I guess since Karo Kyoke started as a web novel, he's used to web publishing. But the plot will actually be relevant to FGO if you haven't played it, so you should. Now, here's a fun thing. We were in 2016. We were going to skip to 2018 now, because the only things that happened between then and now in the timeline is adaptations and sequels and stuff. Like, nothing new came out in that gap. It was all just FGO kept publishing. They published some anime OVAs and stuff we mentioned earlier, some anime adaptations. But in 2018, we get Fate Extella Link. This is a gameplay sequel to Extella, with new characters and a plotline which is vaguely related to the end of Extella, but also doesn't really follow on some of the other stuff. It's kind of like how I, as far as I understand, some of the like expansion works for like Melty Blood stuff was. Like, there's new characters, there's new mechanics. It's not really a proper continuation of the story yet. It's kind of a standalone. It's supposed to be a link to a proper Extella sequel. Yeah, it's in my notes. Which is another thing I believe Nasu explained on a blog. But also, it's our introduction for Charlemagne's design, Altera Larva, and some other stuff. Again, Delightworks. We're going to bring this back to Delightworks, please. Give me that link event. Not just the banner, give me that real link event. And also, this is relevant right now, in 2018, the first volume of a new light novel series, Fate Requiem, launched. It's set in 2025. It features a world where, after Holy Grail War was finished, all humans got grails, and thus got servants, and thus lots of shenanigans. Many thuses. Our main character, Erice, is a Grim Reaper who takes care of rogue servants, but she does eventually get her own servant friend, Voyager. Publishing is ongoing. This one's not finished because literally only the first volume is out. I think the second volume is coming out soon, which is why they're, like, advertising it. And if you're concerned if some of those were spoilers, I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure that's, like, the jacket blurb. Like, if there was a Fate Requiem anime, the trailer would be Erice being like, in a world full of servants, I'm a Grim Reaper. Like, that kind of stuff.
No, actually, if I remember correctly, yeah, even though I don't know about Requiem, those are the 3 parts I remember. Mm-hmm. Voyager, everyone has a servant. Erice doesn't have a servant for some odd reason.
Yeah. So, that's one of those things that's like, that's not really a twist, that's the buy-in.
Yeah.
So, that is the all-canonical core Nasuverse. Like we said, there's some plans for some future stuff. There's supposed to be a Tsukihime remake coming out. They formed Type Moon Studio BB, who will be at that indie showcase early next month. Type Moon's also going to do some online stuff, I believe. Is that News Desk still? Yes. There's an Aniplex is doing an online fest from, July 4th to 5th. And they're going to talk about various Fate-related anime stuff. Gee, I wonder if we'll also talk about FGO in there.
Wow, chat. Omega just literally spent how long reading 4 pages, and your first thing was like, no mention of this thing? Classy, guys.
No, because that's not actually like a breakout thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, Nasu writes many, many things at many points, but there's, like, I am skipping a shitload of, like, rando slice-of-life mangas, weird adaptations. Like, this is the core content. This is the stuff that definitely is in there, and there's some future stuff coming out, like I said. There's supposed to be a Tsukihime remake in the works. FGO is obviously ongoing with several adaptations. We've got the Switch game for today's menu, etc. Stuff like that. And various ongoing pieces. There was an anime teaser for Strange Fate, but I don't think we're animizing it yet. It's not done.
Well, the anime teaser was just to sell the next novel.
Right, but it's funny because they busted out, I think wasn't it A1?
Yeah, it was
Cloverworks, who does all of FGO's PVs and stuff, CMs. So it's funny. They got an actual real honest to God trailer out of it, but it was just to be like, hey, buy light novels. They're still coming out. I also didn't include like many adaptations, many extra stuff like OSTs, all that other stuff. There's a lot of extra content. But now we're going to wrap up with, in addition to all those things which are definitely in the Nasuverse, there are some works which are made by Nasu & Co., are published by Type Moon, but are not explicitly in the Nasuverse. Which, for some reason, this means they were a hell of a lot harder to get research on. For some reason. So I have arranged these in chronological order, which was also hard to figure out. It was a real pain in the butt to do some of this stuff. So in 2007, Nasu started publishing a mystery novel series, DDD, or Decoration Disorder Disconnection. It is published in Faust magazine. It deals with demonic possession, but has no explicit connection to the Nasuverse, but it does reference a character or two in Kara no Kyokai. I think there's 2 complete volumes of it out, and there's supposed to be a third, but Nasu's been blocked up writing FGO for a solid 5 years, so this is arguably probably why Nasu wants to stop writing for FGO after Part 2 ends, so he can go back to doing other things. So this was a weird one to research. So they were supposed to Type Moon was supposed to release an all-ages VN called Girls Work in 2008, but that was canceled and said that it would be made into an anime in 2010. Since 2017, Ufotable is supposed to be working on it, but it still does not exist. I have no further knowledge. I don't even know what it's about. I just know that this is like the great lost work of like Type Moon and stuff. Like literally, they announced it in 8. They said they would be turning it into an anime instead in 10. It wasn't until 2017 when they said Ufotable would adapt it, but I'm guessing Ufotable is busy doing the Heaven's Feel movies. It's crazy. Crazy pants. Then, here's another one. In 2009, there was actually an anime series, which was developed by Nasu and Takeuchi, Kanon. It's about a mercenary chick dealing with bioterrorism and stuff. It's related to a special scenario Nasu wrote for the adventure game, kind of mystery novel thing. 428 should be a scramble. Yeah. There was a special scenario that Nasu contributed, which is related to Kanon. It's got Takeuchi's art in it, but other than that, it doesn't actually deal with any themes or anything related to Nasuverse stuff. It just looks cool. Did somebody post about that in books? Yeah, I think they're actually releasing like some novel adaptations or something somewhere. I don't know. I don't read my own moons. I'm like, wait, I posted that. That's why I didn't remember it. But yeah, so it looks interesting, and it was a 13 episode anime, but it's not directly related. No, I didn't date this. I don't think did I figure out what date it was? I don't know. There was a thing called The Room of the April Witch, which was a short story by Metio Hoshizora. It was released on an April Fool, but doesn't have any comedic elements. It's about a witch named April. It's a thing. It may be related, it might not be. And also in 2012, Type Moon published a light novel series called Fire Girl, which is by Meteo, illustrated by Bun Bun, who you may remember as MHX's artist. It is not directly related to the Nasuverse, but it does involve mundane life transposed with the fantastical. And it actually sounds like a fun read. So I'd love to, again, I don't think there's like an anime or anything. I don't know if there's a manga, but that'd be something that'd be cool to read. Fire Girl. It's published by Type Moon, but not directly related. The reason why I slipped those last couple in, and also why I think Girls Work was a good one, because Meteor was supposed to head that up. Meteo, or Meteor, is actually is a Type Moon writer. So they have worked on quite a few scenarios. They're believed to have worked on Salem and have worked on a couple of sections, a couple of events and other stuff. And been a scenario writer for characters. Like, I believe they are the scenario... I think they're scenario writer for all our foreigners, except Voyager, because that would probably presumably be the Requiem author, who I don't remember off the top of my head. But, like, I believe Meteor was the scenario developer for Abigail, Hokusai, and Yang. So they are, much like many of the other stuff, they are one of Type Moon's stable of writers who work on things.
Things and stuff.
And that's the Nasuverse, guys. Let's see. Hold on. What's the mission clock? We're at almost 3 hours. That took about 40 minutes, I think.
That was a lot.
It's very long, and even then, there's some stuff I missed, obviously, but this is like the core, I believe, canonical parts that are definitely exist and are true. And may not get... And, well, okay, some of them might be retconned for later stuff, but who knows? These are the actual, like, separate, complete works that exist.
That's why when people are like, oh, why don't they do, like, other, like, things like Nasuverse? I'm like, do you know how much shit is in the actual fucking Nasuverse?
No, there's a lot. Like, just Fate on its own is a big list, but even then, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of original works. There's a lot of stuff connected to Tsukihime still. Like I said, not a lot lately, but Nasu and Type Moon really like fighting games, it seems, because there's a lot of those. Mm-hmm. And hopefully will be more in future. You know, that whole thing. And there's so much stuff there to work with. And we'll see elements of them gradually creep into FGO, because FGO is kind of the big central point.
Alf, they literally did a collab with a property that literally has only one volume out. I think it's fucking fine.
Yeah, one of our people in chat was talking about actual Type Moon collabs possible, because Type Moon does have a wide range. Extella and Extella Link are obviously one. Anything related to Fate Stay Night, Holodyrexia, cooking, whatever, they could do tie-ins. But there's Mahoyo, Notes, Tsukihime, the famed Tsukihime collab. And even Kanon could probably be pulled off if they wanted to introduce those characters, even if they're not related. Nasu and Takeuchi did develop it. But he said that Notes is probably not long enough for a proper collab, and that's what prompted Lucky to say they literally did something that's only got one volume out. So yeah, no, they're willing to cut some corners. Arguably, they could do something with Strange Fake, but it would have to cut off at a certain point.
Yeah.
The Strange Fake author is a little like in general with a lot of Japanese works. He's a little sensitive about the spoilers outside of actually reading the context. So that's probably why, for instance, Enkidu is not Enkidu at all in the actual Babylonia chapter. Not that it doesn't work, but I'm assuming that Nasu is like writing around spoilers and stuff.
If I remember correctly, I believe Apocrypha and Case Files got a bit of the snoop boop with FGO releasing Servants. If I remember correctly.
I think that was Strange Fake and Case Files, but it might also be Prisma. I don't know. I believe Apocrypha was all done, and Apocrypha was based on FGO's high concept. Yeah. So
that's true.
I believe that was all out of the way before that got out. But FGO also spoiled visual designs for several characters in prototype fragments because it's a light novel, so some of those characters literally didn't have illustrations yet. So like I said, FGO is a little like Delightworks, and I think ultimately like Nasu and Takeuchi, they're playing a little faster and loose with the spoilerinos than maybe some of their collaborators would like. But because obviously they work with these people and they're probably friends, I don't think they're probably not gonna get too crazy with Strange Fake for a while. But Mahoyo is definitely a good source. That's gonna be another one that's gonna hurt Albert in his soul, much like CCC. So technically, I'm pretty sure the Tsukihime anime and manga were licensed over here, so you could and Melty Blood got English releases, so you could explain who Aozaki Aoko was. You could explain Aozaki Toko through Kara no Kyokai, and other works. So you could kind of pick up most of the major characters who aren't unique to it, but still, it's kind of, that's that. I believe Mahoyo only is the visual novel. So there's a lot of weird stuff out there, but it'll be fun. Tsukihime is the one a lot of people are betting big on. It has been explicitly referenced by Fate earlier. Arcade is a character in Extra. She's a boss.
Class
as a
master.
berserker. Which also Extra featured Shiki as a bonus boss.
I think it was
her class was just monster, just because she's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
They just made her an assassin in the game. That makes more sense. That's fine. And I know this is an argument I've gotten into some people with, but isn't Arcade's real class Funny Vamp? They're not gonna fuck up the class system even more just to make a dumb meme class. She's gonna be Berserker if they do it. Like, if they want to do alternate forms, like, they could totally probably do, like, Berserker arc as the welfare, and then, like, Super Moon Princess Magic arc as, like, ruler or something. I don't know.
Maybe Foreigner. Maybe. Or
Foreigner,
Alter Ego.
too? She's from the moon?
Alter Ego. Stuff like that. And they'll probably reference Funny Vamp in her profile somewhere.
Seal could be an archer or something. Probably. She has a gun, I think, and shoots knives. She throws black keys. Really interested. I don't think we've truly discussed what Rasputin's class is yet, or if we have, it's only embedded in the deep lores of the JPs. But yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff to mine for here. But hopefully this was illuminating to you. I kind of said I bet a lot of you are not going to have heard of at least one of these. And I think it really reminds us that we do really have, like, in the West, we got a lot of heavy lifting left to do. There's a lot of shit
about
that
maybe like
here.
80 to 90% of this stuff. Like, a lot of these short stories, I'm just like, what?
Yeah, when Nasu because the thing to remember is that Nasu is primarily an author. When Nasu just runs off and writes a story, that's one of those things that's very subtle.
I'm not going to go on a list of what I didn't know before, but no, Lucky got bamboozled a little.
It happens. I think the big ones that I think are the obscure stuff that people still remember is probably Notes and Mahoyo.
Yeah.
Like, those are things that only exist in their one form as the short story and as the visual novel, but people know about for stuff.
Yeah.
Most of the other stuff is just like, oh, hey, hey, there's parody comics. Oh, we need this adaptation, that adaptation. One thing that I did find really interesting is because I thought there was more established about Prototype, but no, it's really just Nasu's, like, design notes that are embedded in. Because, hey, guess what's not on this list is the 50 million Fate Complete materials, FGO materials, Extella whatever. There's a lot of, like, reference materials that is not. You know what I mean when I say it's not in universe, hopefully, audience. So we've skipped a lot of that publishing. Those aren't narrative works. But there's, other than, like, notes about that, the 12-minute animation short is the only actual prototype material that's ever been produced. It's only mostly been the prequel, which is, I guess, allowed to evolve in its own way.
I still find that weird.
It is weird.
Like you made...
Especially considering an FGO, Prototype Gil and Perseus have been data mined since forever. Fuck, we started with Prototype Ku. He's in the game. And MASH is based off a prototype character of Shielder. Yeah. She was wildly different, but her design is similar and her class was the same.
Yeah, but they literally started a prequel to something that doesn't actually fully exist. I'm like, what?
No, it's weird. And yes, in case you didn't know, kids, just like if you only followed anime, Zero definitely was a prequel. It came out after, both in anime and light novel form. It's just that was kind of what that and the Kara no Kyokai animation is what set UFO Table on their relationship with with Type Moon to do stuff like Unlimited Blade Works later, aka Unlimited Budget Works.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we talk about, like, FGO has really helped with the infinite amounts of Fate spin-offs and adaptations, but they were already making a lot of money, Unlimited Blade Works was called Unlimited Budget Works because it was clearly had a lot of fucking money put in it. Same with Heaven's Feel, is sometimes joked about as being Heaven's Funding, because it's also similarly very high budget.
It was totally spamming fucking Saber Alter things. It's just like, even in these compressed fucking GIFs, it's like, that's a good shit.
Oh yeah, no, the animation is fluid as fuck. Same with APOC had some really high budget moments that a lot of people liked.
Oh yeah.
They cut loose pretty good. Okay, so Last Encore is mostly a blur. I don't think there was really any bad animation. Just there was Shaft arted it up a few times. They got a little artsy with it, but that's what you do when you fucking call in Studio Shaft to do your anime. You know what you're getting. It's like when you ask Clamp to do your character designs. You know what happens.
Yeah.
And then obviously we talked a lot about Babylonia. Was like they also went no holds barred on the animation budget and bringing in animators. So yeah, Nasuverse, and I think Fate in particular, but a lot of people are real diehards over stuff like Karo no Kyokai, like Tsukihime. So it's interesting. And if you have any further ideas and stuff, you should get into them. But now the episode is getting to be over 3 hours, so we should wrap up. And also, it's the Pillars of Heaven are shaking outside, so should probably wrap this up before Zeus blows up my internet. But yeah, okay, that's Nasuverse. And honestly, some people are like Melty Blood represent that. That could use a new game. It's been a while since there was a new Melty Blood. It's on Steam though, if you want to check it out, I believe. But it's been a while since there was a new one. And honestly, I'm like, give me Unlimited Codes remake or remaster. They ported that to PSP, and it was on PlayStation Network. It's just, I believe because of licensing, Capcom couldn't leave it up there. It's like why the Scott Pilgrim video game is no longer available, which is a shame because I never got to play it, and I really like Scott Pilgrim. But and also,
it's such a fun game.
If you already own it, it's okay. But if it's not on storefronts anymore for now, I think the author was trying to get it back on storefronts, but it's a thing.
I think it was on my old PS3.
Could use some remasters and stuff though, some re-releases, and like I said, especially for mobile games, please, they're making fuck you money here, they're making fuck you money back in Japan. Hire some translators, translate some light novels, and just do it. Just give me Fate Stay Night. It's on mobile. It's available on Android and iOS. Just do it and do capsule servant. Just do it.
Fine.
You'll make money. Trust me. Especially with the model for Fate Stay Night, where you can get the first scenario free and then the other two scenarios are pay. They will definitely make some bank. And also, then we could legitimately do literal Fate Stay Night Let's Plays.
That'd be crazy. Crazy good.
It would be good. Yeah, give us the goods.
Give.
We begin the chant now. Localize!
I'm pretty sure that's going to be the subtext. It's just, give us the goods. Give.
Yeah, I don't know what this episode is called yet. It's going to be something about 2,500, but maybe, I don't know, downloads, Requiems, board games. I'll figure something out. With that while I taking that thumbnail and do the Gudaguda pregame. It'll probably say feat Gudaguda pregame or something. Need that CPM. Need that SEO. Buzzwords. So, the show has gone on a million years, as predicted.
Yep.
So we will wrap it up here. So stay tuned for further stuff. We're going to talk about some stuff we talked about today in What's Up. We'll talk about gotcha stuff and some other concepts we got batting around. Lucky's been doing some work on some stuff, I think.
Here and there.
Like, I don't think I got to it, but I had a joke that for Let's Talk FGO, you're working smarter, not harder with mailbag, because the audience does most of the work, but you are definitely putting in some work on some other stuff in your off time, which will be fun to talk about, I think.
Yeah.
But that'll be What's Up. If you haven't watched it already, if you're in the live audience, the second part of the Fate Homebrew AP came out, so check it out if you want to. That video is doing pretty okay for APs, and also check out our other APs. We've done shitloads of them. It's basically the same shit. It's like, not about Fate, but like, I mean, Mages of War's got some clear inspirations. It's pretty cool. Do you like steampunk mages?
Lucky was crying because Just how much more views the first Fate AP got. I'm looking at.
Well, I mean, some of our first APs, like I think our first couple Clone Wars, like got like 100 or 200. Not as much as Fate, but obviously we are a channel with a mainline Fate podcast, so if nothing else, we get a lot of clicks. Actually, analytic wise, we have a slightly steeper than normal drop off in the AP. Usually it's about 50% of people click away in like the first 3 seconds. With the AP, it's like 70% of people.
Oh.
Yeah, so I believe quite a few people are clicking on it and going, I don't know what I was expecting, I don't want this, and leaving. But a decent amount stay, and we're getting some view time out of it. But yeah, it's interesting to see. It's clearly that we're bringing in more people than usual, but they are not necessarily staying. I'll be interested to see how the second part does. Spoilers, there's going to be more parts. Mostly because, as predicted, when you get six nerds who love Fate together, we often chat about random shit. Especially in a scenario like the Fuyuki one, where there's a lot of jokes and references and thinking to be made. In the second part, it's mostly literally in 3 hours the party takes on Lancer, and there's a lot of exposition and stuff to talk about. But it's a fun one. You should check it out. The conflict actually lasts a while, and I think we're starting to really get a feel for the characters and stuff. There's some interesting stuff. Dallas goes many extra miles as usual. But we do blow up at least one building, if you're interested in that. Okay. And I should mention, since the Gudaguda pregame is up, there are some wanteds in the hopper and some stuff to work on. Just keep your eyes out for those. Some stuff may already be way early up for patrons and a very early pop. But I'm waiting for them to announce some banners so they don't bamboozle me, because I gotta be honest, I never know with FGOEN. Sometimes they give me like a week, and then sometimes it's literally like, hey, literally, it's midnight, literally tomorrow midnight, within 24 hours we'll launch a new event. I'm just like, why? Why you do this to me? So, look forward to more FGO content. Don't worry, Roma will get his moment in the sun. I don't know. I don't think that'll be standalone because I got a lot of other work to do, but we will definitely carve out when the actual event drops, we'll carve out a welfare corner for him. I know a lot of people have been talking about that. Like I said, I don't know if we'll quite step into a standalone video yet, but we will make sure to carve out some space, and I'll put some English on it. Okay. We definitely 100% have to end the episode now. My bottle of water is empty. So, let's wrap up. Lucky. Do you have any final thoughts about any of that stuff?
I'm laughing because you were far away when you said Lucky, so it was very quiet.
Yeah, I leaned over. Sorry.
No. Well, as I said, actually, I should mention this. We're only down to 2 topics for Teach Me Mako Second, so if anyone has any ideas, please give us ideas.
Yes, similar to how Lucky kind of prefaces the mailbag, I will say, as the Omega Sensei who does the research, try to keep it focused on Fate stuff. You know, like a lot of people want to be like, well, explain Nasuverse vampires to me. I'm like, I really don't want to, because that's the thing about FGO. FGO constantly dodges Tsukihime vampires because they're not supposed to coexist, so they're not really the same.
I'm sorry, I just want that meme of that guy like jumping super high off the floor, and it's like the floor is vampires, and just the guy just has FGO on him.
Yeah. So, like, I get what you're going for because it is a fucking trip, but yeah, I don't know.
Actually, Megan,
have we actually explained phantasmal species before?
No, but here's an idea. It's not super related, but what if we do segments where we just discuss mythology specifically, like the Odyssey?
We could do that as kind of a branch too. We've had some story time and some segments we've piloted in the past.
Yeah, like because we have a lot of characters from the Odyssey and whatnot. And
yeah, actually, that's a good one. That's not necessarily Teach Me Omega, but it would be similarly formatted, I think.
Yeah.
So, audience, hey, let us know if you want us to intersperse more of those segments and what topics you want covered. Would you like a summary of the Iliad and who was in it? Would you like a summary of the Odyssey and stuff?
Like, Argonauts, fucking Knights of the Round. Like, there's a lot of servants who have stories that we might not have fully covered, so...
Yeah, and occasionally we do step down and do some story time. Like, at one point, back when Camelot came out, and a lot of people were pretty harsh on Gawain. Luckily, after CCC, that's mostly passed. But I actually wanted to explain one of Gawain's big legends, Gawain of the Green Knight. You've told some other stories before. Mm-hmm. But it would be probably end up a bit similar, but maybe a little bit more narrative than to what I do on Wanted, actually, where I talk about a character's actual background. Yeah. And for urban legend characters or real-life people, we could dive into their history and stuff, too, if you have no idea. Kind of like, I actually had some plans to talk about the plot of Momojigari, but I skipped it for time. But that would be the kind of thing where you're like, hey, who the fuck is this? Because we might not necessarily know. I didn't really. Like, I had to actually look it up, because I was like, who? Who, though? Like, I knew that she was a mountain witch from her name, but I'm like, wait, is this a reference to something specific?
New wife of who dis?
Yeah, basically. That's always the thing on the FGO. It's like, who the fuck is this?
I love her design, but will I love her character? The answer is yes.
All right. Now, with that out of the way, and like I said, give your suggestions for teaching Omega Sensei if you're interested in storytime stuff. Do that too. Hit us up in those comments down below. And of course, if you're watching this video on YouTube, be sure to give it a like if you liked it. Hey, guys who listened live, thanks for sitting for us with most of these 3 hours and stuff. Do make sure to pop in, and if you like this little live show, do make sure to pop into the video when it actually goes up on YouTube. Give it a like. You know, give it some love just for the whole keeping all the YouTube gears flowing. You know, this is a celebration for you, but you know, make sure to just slide them back in and give us some love back. Thanks. And of course, you can leave those comments down below, like I said. You can also hit us up on our Discord if you're watching this on YouTube. That link is in the description of every video and on our channel page. I actually described it in the community page. It's the little robot face between our Twitter link and our Teespring link. Yeah, make sure we get Daddy Google Bucks. Our revenue's actually doing very good this month. Doing good business. I think Lucky only got a little drunk in one stream, even. Yeah. We're standing out on our own merits, kids. Yeah! Speaking of which, hey, don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you're new here, so you can always get the latest of our videos. We'll probably do another big thing at 3K. That's a nice number. You know? Continue to tell your friends and enemies, sign up your grandparents who don't know any better. Just, you know, give us some subs, and we'll keep going. Because, one, that's just more audience we can reach, bigger videos, more watches. But also that helps sell us to other people to be like, oh, shit, people actually watch these guys. Man, it is thundering and raining something fierce outside. My mic can probably pick that up, but I don't know if Discord will let it in. We'll see if that comes through in the finale.
Zeus heard you talking shit, and he's all like you're talking mad shit for summoning lightning range.
That's okay, I always flip off the sky. You know. I've lived in Florida for, gotta be close to 20 years now. Actually, yeah, I think I moved in like, it would be exactly 20. I think I moved here in like 9900. So yeah, no, I have long been telling nature to fuck off.
Lucky has flipped off the ocean, but he's never flipped off the sky. The mostly thing he's thrown rocks at the moon and say, fuck off, moon!
And also, hey, in addition to subscribing, you should make sure to hit that bell for notifications and make sure they're turned to all. Always people are like, oh, my notifications didn't proc. Oh, I didn't know the stream happened. This is what notifications are for. If you have them on and set to all, and you actually accept notifications and shit and all your browser stuff, it should work. It should pop and let you know when we do a video, a stream, whatever. Speaking of which, stay tuned for streams. We stream Tuesday and Thursdays. I'm Tuesdays, Lucky's Thursdays.
Booyah!
Currently, I'm locked in an ongoing series struggling against Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist, where people like to watch me yell and scream at card games for children, for literal baby children. I was, like I said, because I was looking at some stuff, I actually looked at some product recommendations. It says ages 6 and up, Lucky.
Well, you are in that up.
I am in that up. And it makes me yell a lot. Sometimes I can't imagine actual children playing some of the parts of this game. Just like,
I honestly think that children probably have a bigger capacity for bullshit sometimes.
Probably. I guess you don't know. You don't necessarily know if you're being shenanigans, right?
Well, like I said, we can talk about it on What's Up, but I definitely have some thoughts.
There's some stuff going on.
Yeah.
So that's our big one. And of course, like it says at the front of the show, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to episodes early in audio format for as little as $1 a month. That's literally as soon as Omega edits together the audio, he slaps it up on Patreon for all patrons, 1 and up, to get in there and listen to early. And at higher levels, you can vote in polls like Teach You Omega Sensei. You can get access to videos early, like Wanted. And at the 10 and up level, if you like listening to us live, for instance, if you're here, you can listen to us live every week. We always cast the show live to patrons. We hang out with them. We talk to them in chat. They get access to the pre- and post-show bits, etc. It's a fun time. You can get shout-outs, credits, whatever. It's great. And it's really one of the things that drives us forward, especially in these weird and confusing times. And they let Omega afford things like a battery backup, which keeps his computer on when the thunder and lightning happens. And that, I think, is this week's Let's Talk FGO. Thank you so much to the live audience for joining us, especially for this long. Though I did warn you. I told you, dog. I warned you.
This applause is for you. Thank you.
So thank you so much. And thank you so much for our YouTube audience later for tuning in. You guys are important, too. Obviously, if you're subbed, you're what got us to 2,500 subs, you know?
Gotcha.
Yeah, and thanks so much for just dealing with us talk for way too long about stuff.
Yeah.
Tune in soon for What's Up, which will be about more stuff. All right, it's really raining hard. I'm gonna go now. Let's end the show.
I'm hungry. Chili bomb.
Chili bomb.